One man has shone like the sun in qualifying week on the Isle of Man. Dean Harrison arrived in blazing form from opening day and is the only rider to top a 133-mile-an-hour lap speed on his factory Honda, and he's done it an incredible 10 times. The rest are left to scratch their heads until today, because today is race day. Turn the page to a blank sheet. Qualifying counts for nothing. The island has welcomed tens of thousands of visitors for its busiest weekend of the year. The riders are chasing victory. The spectators are ready to witness history. From the bottom of Bray Hill to Halewood Heights, it's time to light up the world-famous TT course. The buzz is real. Let's go racing at TT 2026. Well, good afternoon from the TT Grandstand here overlooking Glen Crutchley Road in Douglas. And after yesterday's postponement of the opening race of the meeting due to mist and rain, all looks good for better today. So welcome to RST Superbike Sunday. Earlier this morning, the pit lane and well beyond was a sea of bikes and colour as the Legacy Lap took place, led by the Women Riders World Relay. And we hope you all enjoyed your ride out. They came back through here from 11 o'clock and they were still coming back through here at 11:30. I'm Chris Boyd and I'm delighted to welcome back a regular part of Radio TT in recent years. Back with us just for one day, I think, this year, before he moves on to TV work for the rest of the week. Very good morning. Okay, good afternoon. 3 times TT winner, Patrick Farrant.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chris. It's brilliant to be back here. I mean, the weather looks ideal out there. The trees are not really moving that much today, so the race is definitely going to go ahead, and it's going to be probably a war of attrition, this big 6-lap race. We've not had a 6-lap race for a couple of years now. The Superbike race was cut down to 4 last year, and obviously the cancellation of the senior race. So this is sort of getting back into these big races for all these guys. It's a big undertaking for them, but it's like Dino has sort of looked brilliant all week, hasn't he? Come out the blocks 133.9 on day one of practice, and I don't think he's really looked back. He seems to be doing them speeds at ease, and we know them other boys can do them speeds. We know that they're going to be there or thereabouts, but they're sort of been chasing and trying to catch up, and yeah, it's for them to sort of catch Dean, it seems.
As we said in that opening piece, Dean has set the 10 fastest laps of the meeting in qualifying. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. He seemed to get the monkey off his back last year. He'd had, I think it was 13 podiums on the bounce before he managed to get the victory last year. His first victory since the senior in 2019, and I think it was feeling to be a bit of a monkey on his back, but he's come back here, bit of continuity with Honda, and they've really hit the ground running. He's been doing really well in the Super Sport race, got on the podium in that class, and he's come with loads of confidence, and it's sort of translated straight away, and that the ease that he's been able to do them speeds at, and he's looked so good out there on the track, not a wheel out of shape, and yeah, he is really looking good.
We know that plenty of other riders can step it up, but we are looking for them to make quite a leap from where they've been in qualifying to get anywhere near him, aren't we?
Yeah, but like you mentioned at the head of the show, though, it's race day now. This is where it practice counts for nothing, really. This is where it's won and lost, and it's a big 6-lap race. There's 2 pit stops. Anything can happen in pit stops. We saw that a couple of years ago. So it's not just given now. These boys, you've got Peter Hickman and Michael Dunlop, and even Nathan Harrison has sort of been on the mark, and John McGuinness could be even pushing a podium here, going off number 1 down the road. He's been looking good, and he's been working well with Dean Harrison, and the whole Honda team's looking good.
Yeah, we'll take you through all of the qualifying times as we build up towards the race start at 1:30. We've got almost an hour to play here. The roads are now fully closed all around the TT course, ready for this opening race, the RST Superbike TT. And as we say, take Dean Harrison out of it, and there's potentially a right bun fight here for the podium spot.
Yeah, it is, but this is what they've all been working to. It's not been a secret that Peter Hickman's sort of been struggling to get up to pace, and the further the week has gone on with Michael Dunlop, he sort of looked more comfortable, and on that Friday he managed to put in a 132 mile an hour lap there. But Josh Brooks is also in the mix. He's been looking, he's been looking good in all the classes. So for the chasing pack that are trying to chase down Dean, it's going to be a hard fought battle.
Indeed. So we've got lots to look forward to this afternoon. We haven't had a 6-lap race on the mountain course since the 2024 Superbike TT, which of course is mostly remembered for Michael Dunlop and the visor incident at the top of Bray Hill. But we also had Davey Todd delayed in the pits on that, and it just showed in a 6-lapper you have to wait right till the end.
Yeah,
everything's up in the air.
Right to the very end. I mean, Michael Dunlop looked as though he had that race in the bag. He sort of had a comfortable lead and was just sort of stretching his lead, and then a simple thing like, well, you say it's a simple thing, but it's the visor wasn't quite clipped in right, and it cost him a victory. But it can be anything, these guys are changing rear wheels, and we've had it in the past where they've had problems with spindles, and yeah.
Okay, we welcome then the Lieutenant Governor of the Isle of Man to TT 2026. As we do, will those on the grandstand who are able please be upstanding for the Royal and National Anthems. Thank you very much, and we welcome Sir John Lorimer and hope he has a great day. Sarah Maltby, MHK member with responsibility for motorsport, leading the welcoming party today out on Glencrutchy Road, and fabulous to see the scouts out there with the flags of the competing nations today here at TT 2026. So there's always a special atmosphere around opening race day, and it's still more so when there's a 6-lap race on the course, the ultimate test of riders and machines' skill and ability. Let's head down to the ground and check in with our top reporting team, Beth Espy, Mike Booth, and firstly, good afternoon, Chris Kinley.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Chris Boyd. Absolutely perfect conditions, you quite rightly say here, especially at the grandstand and probably around the circuit. We're going to be giving you a flavour of what's happening around here. We've got Mike Booth, as you quite rightly said, on the team. We've got Beth, who's just made her way in. We've just seen Ian Hutchinson coming in. I think Mikey Evans also in, and Mikey, of course, with that accident he had earlier on in the week. And I've just been speaking to one of his team about the amount of work that they've had to do to get this machine back to full fettle, as we say. So Mike Booth is following those around us. An atmosphere, Mike, isn't it? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chris, and good afternoon, everyone all around the TT course. And I've dropped my water bottle. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, there really is an atmosphere, and there's something special, isn't there, about race day at the Isle of Man TT, particularly when it's a big bike race, a superbike race. And as Pat said earlier, 6 laps round here is a massive undertaking. So there'll be lots of nerves, not just from the riders, but from the whole teams down here in Parc Fermé.
And 2 pit stops.
2 pit stops, yeah. So it's a race that's not just about it's not just about the rider. It really is about the team, because the guys will come in. A lot of the teams will do a tyre change. They'll have to fill the bike up with fuel. So it really does put a lot of onus onto the team, because it doesn't matter how fast the guys go around the circuit. If something goes wrong in the pit lane, which we've seen it happen hundreds of times, that can be the race over. So yeah, it really is a big team effort today.
Let's hear from Mikey Evans. We talked about him just at the intro there. He's with Beth.
Certainly is, Mikey. Just wondering, at what point does race day start to feel real?
Feels pretty real now. yeah, no, probably I don't know, an hour and a half ago, and start getting into it. Start getting ready. Kind of, you get going then, and now it's starting to feel very real.
How do you get race ready then?
I don't want to give too many secrets away, but a little bit of a warm up, a bit of stretching, nothing major. Just try and keep the fluids up. Just do everything I possibly can to be as good as I can, as ready as I can to go down the road there.
And as we were saying, this is the first 6-lap race since 2024, which is a great for fans and riders alike.
100%. I've been training. I've been training very hard, and every time I train, everything I do is for a 6-lap race. I'm not interested in these 3-lap, 4-lap races. A big 6-lap Superbike race is, that's what that's just a classic, isn't it? I mean, it's what we've been waiting for, and it's just it's a massive test to do 6 laps around here at these types of speeds. So this is what I've been training for. I need to remind myself that, and just I'm ready. I'm so ready for this. Yeah. 2
pit stops. What sort of communication are you having with your team?
Just not a lot really. They know their job, I know my job. I'll come in, turn the bike off, sit back, try and get some fluid on board, try and relax. They'll do their thing, I'll do my thing, and we'll be good.
Have you had anything to eat this morning?
What did I have? Had some chocolate Weetabix this morning, coffee, and then that's probably about it now. I'm at the point now where it's quite hard to stomach anything. I've a couple of flapjacks, It's
Choice of champions, though. Mikey Evans, hopefully. Have a great one today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Got to talk about those pit stops. Mike Booth's with you over there, Beth, and there's nothing else like a pit stop. Being asked one of the riders to describe it to me once, and he just said, you've got to think about so many things. And how many times have you come through, Mike, and just gone to yourself when you were competing here, you come out of Governor's Dip and you blast through, and how many times you gone, is it my pit stop lap? Is it not my pit stop lap? You ever done that?
Sorry, I just bumped into someone there. So, no, all the time. Sometimes you get to the sort of Craig Nabar, and you're thinking, right now then, am I on lap 1 or 2? Am I coming in? Am I not? A lot of the time, when you're on lap 2 or 4 or the end of the race, you know that you're either due to finish the race or due to come in the pit lane, because your bike starts coughing and spluttering because these bikes use so much fuel. So, you need to come in the pit lane. If you miss the pit lane, that is your race over, because you'll never get round another lap. But yeah, like you say, there's a million things going through your head. You pull into the pit lane, you've got to get the bike slowed down to the 60 kilometres an hour speed limit. You've got to get your speed limiter on if you've got one. You've got to pick the right pit box or pit area, and it's actually really difficult when you get in the pit lane to find your team, because now the whole team wear overalls, balaclavas, gloves. It's really difficult to tell which is your pit setup. So you're really relying on them to pick you out as you come into the pit lane and usher you into the section where you need the fuel. So then you need to get the bike stopped. You need to turn the engine off, because you can't put fuel in when the engine's running for obvious reasons. Get the fuel in, like Miggy said, get some fluid on board if you possibly can. Give you visor a wipe, or a lot of the times you'll have a team member to change a visor for you. Get the rear wheel in if you're doing a rear wheel change. By that point, hopefully the fuel tank's full. Lid on, engine on, and away you go. Again, making sure you don't speed, because if you do speed in pit lane, the time penalties that you receive are just not even 0.1 of a mile an hour over the speed limit in pit lane. You will get a penalty. So you've got to be so careful and making sure you don't turn your speed limiter off till you get over that line at the end.
I mentioned in the week as well, at pit lane, it might look flat, but it's not flat. When you come in, you kind of go in a ride that lifts up in the middle and it drops away at the bottom. So you've got to be careful of that. And you obviously set your limiter to do 60 kilometres an hour, but you get a bit of overspeed coming in, you can be caught out. And so many have over the year. We look back to the last 3 or 4 years for the pit stop times, and it is quite relevant, to be fair, because they're all very similar. Everything in the range of the top 15, 20 guys will all be 53, 54, 55 seconds. Davey Todd, I think, was in 2 years ago, 2024 in the first pit stop. Or was it when the last time we had a 6-lap race? In the first pit stop, he was 55 second. In the second pit stop, he was I think about 110, 111. So, again, won and lost in the pits, as we've seen over the 100-odd years this has been going on.
Yeah, massive difference, and the guys are trying their best out there on the course to go as fast as they possibly can, and they're doing incredible lap times, but the racing's that competitive that if you lose 15 seconds in the pit stop, 10 seconds in the pit stop, that can quite often be the difference between a podium position and, when we've got that group, that second group, the difference between a podium position and 7th, 8th, 9th place.
Looking back at the practice qualifying, I mean, it was the Dean Harrison show, as we've heard Chris Boyd saying. Pat alluded to it as well. How are they going to catch him? Because he goes off like a skull, like the old John McGuinness thing, the start to Glen Helen, the Glen Helen split. Well, as we all knew, if John was on one, if he was the first, he was 2 or 3 seconds up at Glen Helen, we knew that John was in with a good shot of winning this. Dean's taken that mantle on, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. It's almost as though they're sitting in the pit garage together, Dean and John, and it's like Dean's learnt from the very, very best, hasn't he? And he's sort of, like you say, he's taken that sort of role and running with it. We're saying this on paper. This is Dean's race to lose, but that this
is a TT race.
This is a TT race. It's 6 laps. You've got to finish the TT race. Anything can happen. We talked about things in the pit lane. You can miss a gear somewhere. You can outbrake yourself a tiny bit into make a slight mistake, and you can sort of bet your bottom dollar there's going to be a bunch of riders wanting to capitalise on that. Pete Hickman, we've not really seen the pace from Pete that we're used to yet, but he is sometimes a bit of a slow starter, and usually by race week he's up to pace. You can never ever write Michael Dunlop off around the TT course, although again we've not quite seen the pace from him on the big bike. And then there's a whole host of other riders, like I'm talking about Josh Brooks, Jamie Coward, Ian Hutchinson, who's put on a good show.
Nathan Harrison,
yeah. So there's, he's not going to have it his own way. I think he is going to be pushed till the very end. What that means is I think we're going to see some very, very fast lap times. Don't be surprised if the outright TT lap record is obliterated today.
Yeah, on the second lap coming into the pit stop, or maybe after the 4th lap coming into the pit stop, or maybe on the last lap itself. Looking at them times again, you mentioned Hutchie there as well on the Team RST BMW 1000R 130.052. John McGuinness in 5th place. And back to those pit stop times again. I look back to last year for the 4-lap Superbike races, whatever day it was held last year. I can't remember what day it was, but the two Honda guys are both 55 and 56 seconds for them pit stops, and that as a team, if that can get you 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 and just get you out in front of someone again, so they're not using you as a target, that's really handy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because obviously these guys set off at 10-second intervals, but as we've seen before, they can quite often be together on the road, and sometimes that's a bit of a benefit if you can sit in someone's slipstream and sort of drag a couple of extra miles an hour out of the slipstream on the long straights. It can improve your lap time, and times wise can sort of bump you up a place or two. But if you're stuck behind someone and you are a little bit quicker and they're holding you up, it can be very, very difficult to pass. No one likes to take liberties overtaking people on the TT course because it's just too dangerous. So there's oftentimes, you're sitting behind someone and you're waiting for an opportunity to pass them. That might take half a lap, that might cost you 5 seconds, and that might, like we said, be the difference between a podium position and not a podium position.
Well, a few of the riders have just been up here in the civvies, not changed yet. Just seen David Brook walking up here, a couple of others just having a little dander around again. Not nice, just nice and relaxed and just ready to go. I do know, Chris Boyd, there is a couple of non-starters. Do you want to get them in while we've got time before we get up on the road and see how busy it is?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just give people a little bit of time to find their programmes. It's going to be pages 42 and 43 in your race programmes. We'll run through the alterations. Just while we give you a few seconds to find that, pages 42 and 43. Let's just run through one or two things, because lots of people will be joining us for Race Week here at TT 2026. So how to listen to Radio TT. You're listening to us now if you're hearing this, but there may be various options for you. You can listen on Manx Radio Motorsport, online at iomttraces.com, on FM around the course, on DAB and on AM 1368. Your timing for the race today and throughout Race Week will be at timing.iomttraces.com. That's timing.iomttraces.com. If you haven't used that previously, you will just need to sign up for an account, but it's absolutely free. So now is the time to do it while you've got another 40 minutes or so before the race starts. timing.iomttracers.com. If you're on WhatsApp as well, sign up for the TT info line. That news will come straight from the race organisers and race control. You'll get the very latest information there via the TT info line on WhatsApp. And of course, don't forget, you've got TT Plus, which provides loads of free content and the option to sign up for the live stream. And the TT's YouTube channel has got daily roundups and highlights going on as well there, so you won't miss a thing if you sign up to both TT Plus and subscribe to the TT's YouTube channel. And finally, if you're on the island, don't forget the fan zone here at the TT Grandstand. Lots of things happening on the stage there, and the fan zone is open until 11 o'clock daily. Okay, that gets the parish and notices out of the way. Let's move on to the changes to programme for the RST Superbike TT. Pages 42 and 43 in your programme. The non-starters are numbers 8, 25, 31, 45, 46, 48, 57, 59, and 61. Changes of machine. Michael Dunlop changes from a BMW that is in your programme to a Honda CBR 1000. So Michael Dunlop will now ride a Honda at number 6. At number 11, it's not a change because it's in your programme as BMW, but instead of riding the Bavum Superbike BMW, Connor Cummins will now use his own Connor Cummins Motorsport BMW. So Connor will switch to the Super Stock machine. And at number 51, Mark Parrott changes from a BMW to a Suzuki 1000RR. So it's Suzuki for Mark Parrott at number 51. And those then are the changes to programme for the RST Superbike TT race. Just a little bit of news on that. Sam West posted that he has decided to withdraw from TT 2026. This was yesterday, I think it was. TT 2026 is over early for me. I arrived here on the back foot after a difficult Northwest 200 where he had bike problems. They've given it everything to try and resolve the issues, worked relentlessly to try and get it sorted in qualifying, but they haven't managed it, so their time is up. They're going to move away and focus on getting ready for road racing throughout the remainder of the year. We'll hopefully see him back on the island for the Southern 100. So Sam West out of TT 2026. We'll be back at the TT Grandstand after a very short break.
Manx-based RL360 have been providing international financial solutions for over 30 years, helping our customers to grow their wealth to pay for life's big events, such as your children's further education, your good health, or your retirement plans. Perhaps that big road trip on a new motorcycle. Whether savings, protection products, or investments, for life's financial journey, visit rl360.com and speak to your financial advisor. RL360. Proud sponsors of the TT.
Metzeler Motorcycle Tyres, the official tyre of the TT. Metzeler tyres are designed, developed and tested in the most extreme environments and the toughest settings, including the Isle of Man TT course. Whether you ride on road, off-road or on track, Metzeler has a tyre for you. See the Metzeler range at the TT Grandstand or find your perfect tyre with our tyre configurator online at metzeler.com. Metzeler Motorcycle Tyres, the official tyre of the TT.
When it comes to head protection, RI strives for the ultimate. With incremental design and protection improvements introduced to the range year on year, RI not only research and improve on the management of impact energy, RI strongly focuses on rounder, smoother, stronger outer shells to enhance glancing off performance. For free service on your RI helmet and more information on RI's glancing off technology, visit the RI Hospitality behind the grandstand. RI, Because what we protect is priceless.
Redefining luxury and convenience on the Isle of Man, Opal is a premier provider of travel, hospitality and concierge services, specialising in curating a seamless experience for visitors during the world-famous TT. From Opal's Isle of Man HQ at Opal Centre, we deliver excellence across multiple industries, ensuring the highest standards in everything we do. For the ultimate travel experience, visit opal.solutions or call 0204 540 0392. Elevate your expectations with Opal.
Staying safe starts with you this TT. One course, one shared responsibility. Play your part. Never enter closed roads on foot or in a vehicle. It's dangerous and illegal. When roads do begin to reopen, don't enter until the roads open car, marked with red flashing lights, has passed. Always follow the instructions of marshals and officials. They're there to keep everyone safe. Make sure you know the latest road closure updates by following the TT WhatsApp info line with live updates at iomttraces.com/TT infoline. Stay off closed roads. Obey our marshals. Stay safe, stay informed with the TT info line.
Just under 35 minutes away then from the start of the 6-lap RST Superbike TT race. Down to the ground we go, and we'll join Beth, who has got the fastest ever South African around the mountain course with her, Alan Venter.
Yeah, fastest ever South African around the course. That's got quite a nice ring to it, Alan.
Yeah, I'm very happy. It sounds mad. But yeah, fastest South African. I'm trying to encourage more South Africans to come over and come ride, and it's nowhere near what the Peter Hickmans and the Michael Dunlops have done, but for me it's fast, and we're always trying to improve, and hopefully this week we can try and move that ball a little bit higher.
If you could speak to little Alan, like the child, what would he say about you being here today, do you think?
So the real AJ is standing at, of all the places, he's at the top of Bray Hill for the first 2 laps and then the bottom of Bray Hill. So I'm looking forward to seeing him hanging out the fence here with his hands out and probably, like he says, just go full gas.
What sort of conversations then have you been having with your team this morning? There's a lot to go through, I imagine.
Yeah, we the weather's changed so much. So for us, it's about the distance. Obviously, it's the first 6-lap race. We didn't do a 6-lap race last year, so this is our first proper 6-lap. So the pit stop it's a bit of a learning process for us. And so we're watching the temperature, how much fuel we're going to put in, and to be honest, we're all taking bets about the wheel change. If I'm going to mess up the speeding in pit lane, or if the wheel change is going to hold us back. So there's good spirits. Our last member of the team arrived last night, actually one of our mechanics. So the team's complete. Everyone's here and we're ready to fight.
And the thing about coming into the pits, it's just finding your team, isn't it? Making sure you slow down enough, like you say. Yeah, you don't want that on you, do you?
So one of the most important things I did this year, I think I have the tallest mechanic in pit lane. So he'll walk up here, Nana, and he needs to jump in, and I need to ride into him. That's all I can do. Look for the tallest man and ride into him.
Alan, thanks for talking to us. Have a great one out there today.
No, thank you so much.
Yeah, 125.594 for AJ Venter there as well. And again, Mike Booth, we can't stress this enough. If you've never been to a TT race before, if you're in the grandstand there and the pit stops and stuff, this is where TT races are won and lost. And we know what Mike, so you can run on a little bit as well, but you can come in, have an advantage. The Vise could come off. I'm looking forward to this one. I love the 6-lapper. I really do, Mike. I know it's hard on you guys, though.
Yeah, it's hard. It's one of the hardest things that these guys will ever do. Holding onto a superbike for 1 lap round here is hard. Holding onto a superbike for 6 laps is, it's something else. And then, like you say, throw in a couple of pit stops in there to just kind of like it interrupts your flow a little bit. You get comfortable on the bike and then you have to come in and stop, and it's good to get some fluid on board. But like I say, it just interrupts the whole flow of it. But obviously, we need to fill these bikes up with fuel, because even with the sort of larger 24-litre fuel tanks these bikes have got, we'll still only manage 2 laps on them. So we need to get in, fill them up with fuel, and then back out for a couple more fast laps.
It's a lot of weight, isn't it? Just explain to the listener out there, for those new fans who we've got coming to the Isle of Man TT races for the first time, when you set off here on the first lap, everything's warm, everything's ready to go. You come in for the pit stop, then you get filled up with fuel again. How different does that make the bike for the first couple of miles?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's sort of the bike sort of gradually becomes lighter over the first 2 laps as you use fuel, so you almost don't notice it. And then you come in, put 24 litres of fuel in, which is like nearly 20 kilos, and you set off down pit lane. You can you open the throttle coming out the pit lane, disengage your pit lane limiter, and you get a surge of power, and the whole thing sort of you feel that extra weight, and then you get to Quarter Bridge, which is a fast downhill, sort of hard on the brakes, and that extra weight with the sort of gravity of the downhill, it makes the bike really, really, really difficult to stop. So you've just really got to think about getting on the brakes that little bit early for Quarter Bridge and the hard braking sections at the beginning of that lap, because a big tank of fuel does make a huge difference.
Thank you very much. That's the thoughts of Mike Booth. Let's hear from a man now who's been coming to the TT a good few years. He's 18th quickest in qualifying on the Roadhouse Macau BMW. He's done, of course, 127.1. Brian McCormack's with Beth. Okay, not sure if Beth is with it. We'll take a little wander down, and hopefully Beth's okay and she's not being taken away by anybody. She'll just go past Sir John and Lady Lorimer, who are in the pits there. Hello, good morning to you, Lady Lorimer. And Beth, are you with us yet? You back with us, kid?
I think so. I don't know what
you
happened
are there now. You're
Sorry.
there,
Do you know what it was? I was talking to Banana Man here, Brian McCormack, who just flung his banana skin into the tent here. How are you feeling this morning?
Yeah, just trying to wake up the mechanics. Yeah, feeling good. Yeah, I'm a little bit more nervous than usual, but it's straight into a 6th lap. It's not what we've done in a long time, in a few years. So, look, it's no different to what we used to do all the time. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. I think we have good potential, so that's maybe why I'm nervous. But yeah, looking forward to it. The sun, the weather couldn't be any better, really. So just pray it stays like this for the rest of the race.
And among your team of mechanics there, you've got an MGP rider, Brandon Kavanagh, which it must be great, actually, having somebody who knows what it's like there out on the course for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to teach him a few lessons, how hard it actually is to ride around here and how physical it is. So, no, it's great. He's learning a lot from us, and he has done over a long time, so hopefully he'll bring that into the Manx Grand Prix. My second rider, David Datzer, unfortunately, he's been very injured for the last year and a half, so he's only getting back to fitness. So hopefully he's starting right at the back, but I think he'll show great potential by the end of the week as well. So the team are in a good place. Just need to get some results now.
Apart from the banana, any other pre-race rituals?
No, I'm fairly chilled out. I have just a bit of crack with my mechanics. They're all my friends anyway. They've been around me a long time, so they know me. They can read me. So I won't do anything different. Just keep doing the same. Have a bit of fun and go out and enjoy it.
Have a great one out there, Brian. Thanks for talking to us.
What about the wheelies up pit lane earlier on? I saw you.
Oh yeah, I'm gifted at the wheelies. One thing I'm actually good at is wheeling. I can wheelie anything. And I actually wheelied a tractor one time.
Did you?
I did. So
how'd you do that?
Yeah, I bet Davey Todd in a wheelie competition in Texas, and he was properly pissed off. So.
And apologies there for the first language of the day. Thank you very much, Brian. Get it in. Let's have a word with David Datzer if we can, and let's see how he feels. David, good afternoon. Sorry, just a squeeze in there. You're in. You got to start.
Yes, after a really, really difficult week in the trainings week, I start now from the last position, but I had a goal to come forward and enjoy 6 laps. I hope it's all perfect.
And more bike time for you so you can get bike fitness again.
Yes, of course. I need the bike fitness and I need the laps this time, and I have to enjoy it.
David, good to see you. I'm glad you're getting the start.
Thank you very much.
David Datzer there. Cheers, buddy. Yeah, he's going to be going off right at the back, and Beth's just speaking to Chris Moore. And it is always interesting to me, Mike Booth, when riders from other classes come up here, because they want to soak up this atmosphere, and it is building in here, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. Just because you're not racing in this race doesn't mean you can't feel the tension and get the nerves. I mean, it's a good few years since I've raced at the TT, but I can still feel all the same butterflies in my stomach kicking off, so it's dead exciting.
Well, my old mate Brian Reid is with Beth Espy. Brian, good to see you back on our island. Beth?
Yeah, Brian, just wondering, can you remember what this pre-race nerve felt like?
Oh, yes, it just brings back memories, and I always remember in 1993, and I felt so nervous I could hardly walk out of this area, and I just thought at the time it wasn't going to be a good race, but my first signal was P1, so it worked out okay.
There must have been some times where you did wonder, why am I doing this?
Exactly. When you go up on the line, you always say that to yourself, why am I doing this? But once the flag drops in, you start enjoying yourself, and and you know, when you get a good result, there's nothing else in the world like it.
If you could, would you swap places with somebody out there today?
Oh yes. Just too old now, Beth.
What is your favourite part of the course, Brian?
It took me a long time to realise that my mountain section, in those days we didn't have sector times or anything, so it took a long time for me to realise that was probably my best sector. So, you know, 33rd milestone, loved that.
And do you remember that moment when you crossed the line and you know that victory is yours, you're turned into the winning enclosure?
Yeah, there's nothing else in the world like it, winning at the TT, you know. It was my dream to come and race here, and way beyond my wildest dreams to win, you know. So, you know, I've always watched the TT from a kid, you know, and so just wonderful memories.
Well, it's wonderful to still see you here today, and you've got a group of people with you?
Yeah, we've got Americans here who are here for the first time, so we're just showing them the ropes and getting atmosphere, the TT atmosphere for them.
Brian, lovely to talk to you. I wonder if we can just speak to some of these first-time TT people. Do you know what you're going to see out there today? You ready for it?
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's going to be a definite experience for sure.
And when did you first hear about the TT?
Just heard about it probably 2 years ago or so. Saw it on social media, and now I'm here. Get to experience it in real life.
Are you ready for the TT?
I am so ready. Yes, I flew in just this morning for this from the south of France. He came in from Texas.
Yep.
Wow. And it's like a big happy family. And look who we got as our chaperone.
Tell you what, Brian Reid, you couldn't get much better than that. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
You too.
Great to get the thoughts of our first-time TT visitors, and of course Brian Reid, World Formula 2 champion. And here's Mark Parrott off of 51, change of machinery for you, and 99th start, young man.
Yes, yeah, change of machinery. I really wanted to bring the old BMW here. It's like a pair of old slippers, and it's absolutely minted. But, you know, you have to move with the times, apparently, so Gus Turner, Isle of Man Bike Storage, has kindly lent us this to use. It's just getting used to it. It's just a bit of an animal compared with the BM. So we'll see how it goes. We've changed a load of things, and you don't like changing anything just before a race, but we changed some things yesterday because we didn't get out. We'll see what it's like today. 6 laps, going to be a long day.
It is, and your 99th start, do you remember your first one?
Yes, my first TT start was abandoned in 2000 because production race. I had to get home to a mate's wedding, so I ended up leaving the island with Derry Kissack, the voice of the Purple Helmets, to go back down to Ilfracombe in Wales, in Devon. But yeah, so the actual proper first start I made was 2002. Well, it was brilliant because we had the TT we done on the production bike as it was then, and that gave us another like 20 laps prior to going to the Manx that year, where fortunately I won the senior. So yeah, it was good practice. It was a good time, and long time ago now. I was young then.
Weren't we all? Mark Parrott, thanks for your time.
Cheers, Chris.
I'm just sitting here next to Ian Hutchinson. What would you say to put into words how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's been quite a good week, to be fair. We've had plenty of track time, quite a lot to learn with the bikes, and especially the Superbike. I didn't ride one at all last year, but it's going okay.
Do you remember the first time when you thought TT was what you wanted to do?
Well, I did the Manx first. Yeah, I'm not really sure why I decided to do it. I came and watched. I came on my road bike for 3 years and just watched, and never sat there thinking I want to do this. But I was friends with DJ, so we just, you know, we came out and supported him and watched him. And then for some reason I wanted to do the Manx. So yeah, it's since 2004, so 22 years since I first came.
And what an incredible career you've had over here since then. How are the team feeling this afternoon?
Good, yeah, it's nice, yeah. I mean, it'd be nice to get one more practice on the stock and the Superbike, but we're not going in with anything disastrous, you know. I've just got to up my game a little bit and start racing instead of kind of doing a track day. I feel like I'm riding like I'm on a track day at the moment, so, but we're chipping away, and I don't think we'll be too far away.
We're all good for the time being on schedule for the start. 6 laps though, physically, how's that for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, especially on the like most powerful bike for 6 laps. I think it'd be fairly easy on a super stock bike, but these things do pull you about a little bit, but we're fairly comfortable. We'll just probably be breathing fairly hard when we get to Sulby the first time, and then we'll try calm it down a bit from there.
We've been talking just about how things can be won and lost in the pits as well. I mean, that's an awful lot to think about, even remembering when to come in, I guess.
Yeah, well, obviously I've got a full new team around me this year, and but everyone's been involved in it before. You know, I've got my main man Chris that's always been here with me, doing the back wheel. That's the main thing that I'm bothered about. Obviously, the fuel's the thing that takes the longest, but the wheel's the safest part that you need right. So I trust him with that, and yeah, I think it should be fairly close. We actually ran out of fuel in practice the other day, so I've had to lean the bike off quite a bit to hopefully make it. But I just said then, like, we're definitely okay for fuel, so you never really know, because obviously your speed changes. Hopefully I go faster, but yeah, we don't want to be running out, that's for sure.
Ian Hutchinson, we hope it goes so well for you.
Thank you.
Finishing 32nd in this race last year is Matt Stevenson. Going to jump in and grab a quick word. Are we on Facebook Live? We are Facebook Live. That's good, isn't it? You don't have to stand up for me, lad. No, you're too tall. Anyway, how are you then? Let's think back to last year. 32nd in this race. I had to look it up, but there you go.
Yeah, I can't remember, honestly. It's just a blur.
Last year?
Yeah. No, it's just a blur. I don't know. I know I went a little bit faster, but I felt a lot more. I didn't feel as comfortable as I am this year on bike, so it's going to be a little more enjoyable, I think. So fingers crossed we'll get round and get some good laps in, yeah.
You've been doing a lot of tweaking through the week as well. Happy with it now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's about as good as we're going to get it, I think, really, yeah. It's just more of me pulling my thumb out my ass and seeing how we go, really, and just pacing myself for 6 laps as well. So we'll see where we end up, yeah.
6-lap race, that's some physical effort, isn't it?
It's hell. It's why it's the best part of 250 miles, so yeah. If we can get squeezed into top 30, that'd be mint, but we'll just have to see. There's always going to be a few retirements and people not running for fueling and stuff like that, so make sure we're not one of them. And yeah, just see where we end up. Top 30 would be ideal, but yeah, see what happens.
Good luck.
Cheers, well, thank you.
Cheers, yeah, off at number 39. Thank you very much for that. So we're going to make our way up into. Just before I do that, just going to jump in and grab a quick word with Mark Goodings if we can on the 58 bike. And Mark, are you getting more to grips with the BM now?
Yeah, it's coming. More laps we do, more easier it's coming. A few data changes and stuff give me a bit more throttle response, but yeah, it's coming.
What do you like for fuel? A few of the BMW guys were saying they're having to lean them off a little bit. You all right for fuel, 2 laps?
Yeah, it seems to be fine. Maybe I'm not going quick enough.
Thanks, Mark. Good luck.
Cheers.
There you go, Mark Goodings off at number 58, and keep an eye on that on the LMT BMW. So we are going to make our way up the road. Beth, have you got anybody there at all?
I'm just stalking somebody. They must.
Dear.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't say that out loud, should I? Just heading into James Chalk's tent here as he just makes his way down, looking pretty chilled out, hopefully. So I just wonder whether I'll just be able to squeeze in here. I'm so sorry. How are you feeling, James? You okay?
I think so, yeah. Looking forward to it now. Just want to get out there and see how it goes. The day is looking good and the weather looks to be on our side, so just hopefully get 6 laps in under our belt, and I suppose we'll use it as another 6 laps of practice, and hopefully we'll be thereabouts at the end of it.
How do you control the nerves on a day like this?
Oh, I don't know, really. Go to sleep or something and just wake up in time for the race. Breathe in and out and take it as it comes. It is what it is at the end of the day, and you can only do your best. So if we have a bit of luck on our side today, we'll see how it goes.
Well, we wish you all the luck in the world. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Beth. So, yeah, riders have just been called up onto Glencrutchery Road. Well, the teams have indeed. There's been a change this year to the race signals. The first signal is exactly as before. That comes 45 minutes before the start, and at that point, tyre warmers must be fitted to all machines and switched on. Anyone found not having a tyre warmer switched on and running 45 minutes before may not be allowed to start the race they are entered for. At that same time, pit lane opens for the crews to go in and fill up their respective fuel fillers, and so that's when that happens, and specified PPE and stuff must be worn when they're doing that. 30 minutes is when we get the second signal. That is still as before again. The third signal, though, that used to come 15 minutes before the start, we've just had 20 minutes before the start now for the third signal, the third race signal, and that is when Glencrutchery Road effectively becomes available to the teams. They must take the bikes up onto Glencrutchery Road and form up just outside of the no man's land that it's known, between the start line and where they form up. There's now a fourth signal introduced as well, 7 minutes before the start, and that is when the clear the grid instruction will be given. And the teams are only allowed to be left with, I think, 2 people around them at that point. So that really is the point where it becomes very, very real. 7 minutes before the start, we will get the fourth race signal. Let's start to have a look at the qualifying times then. For the RST Superbike TT, we know that Dean Harrison has been in amazing form. Of those 10 laps he set that are sub-17, 6 of them have come on the Superbike, 4 of them have come on the Super Stock. His best of them was on Friday, 16 minutes 47.053, 134.877. This is on the Superbike rather than the Superstock. Peter Hickman is then second fastest. So Dean Harrison's Honda against Peter Hickman's monster BMW Motorrad. He's gone around 17.03.476, 132.712, but that is 15 seconds just over behind Dean Harrison.
Yeah, Dean Harrison, the only man to go sub 17 minutes, and he's gone sub 17 by a good distance, and he's even gone faster on his super stock bike. He did 135.4 mile an hour in qualifying on the super stock bike, so things are looking great with them. But it was real nice to hear the guys down there. It's the interview there with Brian Reed where he's saying about the nerves out. That is sort of one constant that never changes with the TT. Bikes evolve, tyres evolve, suspension, the track evolves, but that feeling when you're down there getting ready for the race and you hear the buzzers going before the start, that is one constant that I think will never go away. And out of everybody, I think Hutchie sound the most relaxed out of everybody. I think he's in a real good place, feeling comfortable, and he's on the pace and sort of making his way back, and he's on the outside shot for a podium here, I feel.
He's on his own team, RST BMW. This team has only really been put together since New Year. He's been telling us during qualifying week it's quite late to put a major campaign together to come to TT, isn't it?
Yeah, just to get here with one bike, but to bring a whole team together, it's not just coming with a bike, it's putting everything in place. Having the right guys around you, having the right tuners, the right suspension guys. It's a whole massive operation to come here and to do that from scratch with nothing at the sort of start of the year and build it all up and get here and then be on the pace. It's pretty impressive. And again, for Connor Cummins, the same. He's in the same boat. He's sort of built a whole team up from nothing. So hats off to them guys to be able to do that and get here and to be competitive.
Josh Brooks is another person who seems much more settled at TT 2026 than he has been over the last couple of years. He's riding this year for Dow Racing on the Honda, the same bike he rides at British Superbike level. So happy in the team, happy on the bike. Josh Brooks, third fastest.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Brooks is a class act. He's a world-class rider. He's been having brilliant results year on year here at the TT. He's top of his game in the Superbike classes that he rides in. And he's come here, he's got a bit of consistency, he's got that brilliant team behind him, Dow. He seems happy and he's fast in all classes. And, he's 132.2, a little bit off his fastest ever, but that's what practice is about, This is the race, and you use practice week to get all them little niggles and like anything sort of that's not quite right with a bike, whether it be chassis or suspension setup, that the physicality that it takes to overcome the bike not being quite set up right is huge. And them guys have got everything sorted, and I think he's in a real good place. Third fastest in qualifying, just ahead of Michael Dunlop.
He has those 2 podiums, Josh Brooks, but as you say, Michael Dunlop has plenty more than that. And we've seen the pace come on a little bit just at the end of qualifying. He stepped it up slightly, didn't he, on the MD Racing Honda?
Yeah, but in previous years, he's not always come out of the blocks. I mean, there was one year he went underneath the existing lap record as it was in time in middle of the week in practice, and it sort of took everybody's breath away. And I think that was even on the super stock bike, and everybody went, "Wow, he's on the pace." But you can never, ever, ever write Michael Dunlop off. He comes in here the most successful rider of all times. He's got the most podiums, 51 podiums altogether. I think he had 33 wins. He comes in here as one of the favourites. Even though he's not shown the pace that it needs to win, we know that he can do the pace. We know that the team within themselves can do the pace. So, yeah, he'll be right up there.
And someone else who's really, really done well through qualifying is John McGuinness. Right on there, top 5 place in qualifying.
John McGuinness, 30 years, his 30th anniversary of him coming to the TT. 27 years from his first victory round this course. And he seems to be bouncing well off Dean Harrison. Dean Harrison sort of taken the mantle as a number 1 rider in that team. He sort of came in there when John was the number 1, and Dean's now surpassed him and got them 2 super stock wins last year. But John seems to be bouncing off that and sort of reflecting with that and within the team. And he's even going to short circuits now and putting in his fastest ever lap times everywhere he goes. The guy's just not slowing down.
at all, not so ever. 6th to 10th fastest in qualifying are Jamie Coward, Ian Hutchinson, who we've already spoken about, Nathan Harrison, who of course was 4th in this race last year. He is 8th fastest. Mike Brown is 9th, and Paul Jordan rounds out the top 10 with David Johnson and Dominic Herbertson just outside the top 10. We have just over 11 minutes to go before the race starts, so we're going to get you back down to Glen Crutcher Road. Before we do, we have a message in from the event organisers to say there is an opportunity to get involved in activity for the Isle of Man film that is being produced later today. They are looking to recreate the atmosphere of a real TT winners enclosure. So there's an opportunity for fans and residents to get involved. Filming is scheduled to take place from 4 p.m. till 9 p.m. today after the RST Superbike TT. Everyone is welcome. So head down to the winners' enclosure, which is behind the TT grandstand here, and be a part of it. Come and be a part of this movie that is being filmed around TT 2026. Right, the guys have probably made it up onto Glen Crutcher Road by now, so let's head down to Beth.
I'm just standing next to Marcus Simpson. Spartacus is the nickname that he has here that you'll be able to see on the back of his leathers. Marcus, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. Nice to go and get a run out in, I think, pretty good conditions. Not too sunny, not too windy. Hopefully, should be a nice 6 laps. My second 6 lap Superbike race, due to weather and other events and whatever. So yeah, second 6 lap Superbike race. What can go wrong?
Well, it is just great to see so many people out as well, and I guess that must really spur you on.
Yeah, I've noticed it since before the TT even started. The Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it was busy for the pre-TT, and the whole island's got a real buzz about it. And yeah, it's certainly picking up with visitors, which is fantastic to see. You know, it's lined here on Glen Crutcher Road, and yeah, it's brilliant.
Have you got anyone out there with pit boards today?
I do, yeah. I've got the young lads, Toby and Billy and Connor out at Sulby Bridge on the exit there, and I've got my mate Aaron and Charlotte on the exit of the Craig. I haven't run pit boards for a few years because I had a bit of an issue with them in the Manx in 23, so no pressure, guys. You know, make sure you don't put the decimal points in. I've told them maybe 10 times, and yeah, no, it'll be I've got 2 pit boards just to give you an idea and keep you going, really.
I always think it's fascinating how you'd even actually be able to read what was on them.
It's amazing what you can see when you're out there, and even if you don't necessarily record it at the time, you when you come in, you know, you can. Somebody comes up to you, oh, did you see me then? Oh yeah, I did actually. You know, it's a weird thing, but yeah, you know, a good look at a pit board, no harm.
Marcus, we wish you all the very best for today.
Thanks, Beth, and thanks to everyone else for supporting me out there. Cheers.
Just going to jump in and speak to John if we can. John McGuinness on the number 1 bike. And they're just speaking to Spider and the boys. I'll just get around. In fact, we will go around the other side and lean over this machine because we don't want to miss having a chat to him before he goes. Just the last bit of information going through from one of his mechanics just to him, just the last little bits. John McGuinness, if you could tell a young John McGuinness at 30 years on you'd be still stood here, what would you have said to him? Now be careful.
I wouldn't have thought he'd be still stood here at 54, would I? Still with the number 1 player, just about to unveil some gorgeous livery. Yeah, a bit emotional really, to be honest. I can't believe I'm still here doing it, but we still are. Got some great people around me, so yeah, let's just stick 6 laps together and hope we can do it a bit of justice, you know.
Can you remember back to that 250 day?
Yeah, on the line there was number 18, and Lee Pullen was 18, Noel Clegg was number 19. I went and finished 15th, so yeah, it was that was the start of the journey, and it's got hold of me still now, and you know, we can still do it to this day, and yeah, just enjoying the job. I do remember it was brilliant.
Bit different to today, all this, isn't it? Eh?
Unbelievable. To me, I've never seen a paddock as busy as this over the last few days. It's been epic, and the well wishes for me has been humbling, and I'll just thank everybody, all the marshals, medics, everybody that's been involved in it for all these years. Yeah, just hopefully everybody out there just enjoys this 6 laps we're going to do.
Right, we're just going to have a little bit of an unveil, I think we are here now, of this machine, and it's not going to work good on radio, but for those of you who have got an image of your mind, come back 30 years. We'll hear from Michael Sweeney in a second, who's with Beth. John's got leathers on, and basically it's very similar to the leathers that he had on with the McGuinness on the back in 1996. So we're just hearing that we're starting to clear the grid. And like Richard Milky Quayle is just there now, and I think we are ready to rock. Sorry, yeah, you were going to move in. I'll just get past that chap there. Hello, young Philip. You all right there? and hopefully they're going to take that lid off. In fact, we'll hear from Michael Sweeney first off. Miko's with Beth.
Certainly is. I tell you what, it's busy up here, isn't it?
Very, very busy, yeah. This is where the nerves are kicking in now.
How do you spend your morning just ahead of a race then?
I don't really just want to sit on my own and just go through the wrong thoughts, you know what I mean? But look, we're up here now, kind of starting to settle in now a little bit up here. So once you get the helmet on now, hopefully forget about everything and just go for it. So.
Did you manage to get any sleep last night?
It was a bit late. Yeah, it was a bit late trying to get a sleep. You know, it's worse. It's not too bad on the smaller race, you know what I mean, the 3 and 4 lap race, but 6 lap race is just, it's not good trying to sleep the night before.
I tell you what, it's what the fans want to see, but it is, I mean, it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard work, especially on us as riders. It's so mentally and it's just draining. First 2 laps not so bad, second 2 and are really hard work, and then you just try to regroup and go again for the last 2, but we'll see how we get on. It's 2022 since I've done a 6 lap race, so yeah, it's going to be tough.
I tell you what, it's you out there, but it's a whole team behind you.
Oh, it is unbelievable. Like, these have had sleepless nights changing engines during the week and stuff like that, and then Emma, she's not sleeping because I'm not sleeping beside her, but yeah, so she's more worried than I am. But look, it is what it is now. We're here. It's time to go.
Michael Sweeney, have the best time today.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
So the reveal of the John McGuinness bike way back from 1996 is a replica of the 250, same paint scheme, same colour scheme. The Bird family here to support John on this, and I'm sure there's going to be many photographs, and it's obviously live now on the TT Plus. Grace on the TT Plus team. We're just speaking to John there now. He's got a replica helmet as well. He's got all the stuff there. It looks the absolute business, even on the bottom of it. Think back to the 250. For those of you who can remember that far back, you've seen that 250 with the checkerboard underneath at the bottom of the belly pan of the fairing. It looks absolutely brilliant. With 5 minutes to go, and Nathan Harrison, he's just about to go ready, and he's going to be following off John, and there's no better man for Nathan to be following down Bray Hill. And to just saying, no, how good does John's bike look? You weren't even born then 30 years ago, or were you?
No, I wasn't. What I have to remember is, that's what I keep having to remember this week. Like, obviously John was racing around here before I was born. Hutchie's first TT, I was in year 2. Obviously, yeah, I need to remember that. So, yeah, like you say, I keep putting a little bit of pressure on myself, but as my dad and everyone keep reminding me, these boys have been at it a lot longer than I have, so hopefully I can learn a thing or two today and just get the first one out of the way.
Are you going to ride the Superstock bike in this one, yeah?
Yeah, just going to ride the Superstock bike. I was getting on with that one a little bit better, even though they're the same bike, so yeah, no, we'll see how it goes, and like you say, get the first one out of the way and see where we end up.
And do you remember John's 250 in those colours? Have you seen pictures of it?
I've seen pictures of it. Obviously, like you say, it's still in my mum's womb when he was riding that round there. But hopefully I can see a bit more of it today as well.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Nathan Harrison out off at 2. Dean Harrison is at 3. We'll just jump in with Dean if we can. About 4 minutes to go before the start of this RST race. And first, we'll just a bit of fluid. Going to get somebody in. Dean, just a very quick word, and first of all on John with that machine there. Doesn't it look lovely, that replica they've done for him?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
What about you for today?
Get stuck in from the start, see where we are, read the pit boards and go from there.
All right, let you go, family. Come and cheers. Thank you. Ryan Whitehall, let's hear from him. He's with Beth.
Certainly is. First TT start here. Ryan, how you feeling?
Well, I don't know if I can say it out loud, but yeah, I'm nervous.
And there's a lot to think about, 6 lap race here, but you're all set for it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. The guys have done a fantastic job. They've been changing the rear wheel all last night and practicing, so I've got full faith in them, and they've been so good all week. It's not an easy place, so yeah, really looking forward to it.
I know you're feeling nervous, but you always give off a very chilled vibe.
Yeah, I'm a chatterbox, so that's what everyone always says. They says I won't shut up.
Ryan, have a great one out there.
Thanks so much, Beth. Cheers.
Jamie Coward is here on the number 4 bike. He'll be one to maybe watch as well on the Rapid Honda with Drive Life. Look out for him. Good to see Jamie back here, obviously after missing last year. Davo Johnson is F5. Michael Dunlop just coming up here now on the number 6 bike. But who is going to have the answer to that man we've just talked to there, the number 3, Dean Harrison, with less than 3 minutes to go before the start of this now. So Michael Dunlop is here. Josh Brooks is there looking very, very lax. And I have to say, Patrick Franz, just to bring you on this, Dean Harrison there just looked a little bit nervous before the start of this 6-lap race. And who wouldn't be, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been fastest all week, hasn't he? He's looked pretty impervious with that, but sort of a respect, the pressure is all on him, because everybody's sort of going out there with the expectation that he's a man to chase, so hopefully he can just sort of keep them nerves in check and just get his head down. But he's always a fast starter, he always has been his whole TT career, so that's his plan. He'll go down and try and get to that Glen Helen section and then work to his pit boards.
So let's give you what the board says then. Course update. Excellent conditions around the course. Damp patch at the Nook. Lack of adhesion flag will be shown for the first lap. So excellent conditions around the course. Damp patch at the Nook. A lack of adhesion will be shown for the very first lap. And ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the replica John McGuinness. Absolutely brilliant. I'm sure there'll be plenty of pictures all over social media in the next 24, 48 hours on that bike, and lots of stories. And I wonder what thoughts, Chris Boyd, are going through John McGuinness's head as he rolls down through there, celebrating 30 years at the Isle of Man TT.
Exactly what I'm thinking. He's looked down this stretch of Glencrutchery Road for 30 years. The bike looks absolutely stunning. It's on a green plate with a white number because back in '96 the lightweight, of course, ran under green plates with a white number. So he's the only one that will have the green plate. We are just on 1 minute away from the start of the RST Superbike TT. A 1:30 start for 6 laps. 226.38 miles, 2 pit stops. We've got 6 manufacturers represented on the entry list. We've got 14 nationalities. The 2025 podium was Davy Todd, Michael Dunlop and Dean Harrison. The lap record is held by Michael Dunlop on 2024 on the Honda. 16 minutes 49.727, 134.520. The race record is held by Peter Hickman from that same race in 2024. It was the race with the visor incident for Michael Dunlop. Hickman's race record on the BMW, 1 hour 42 minutes 56 seconds, 0.114, 131.955. We look down onto Glencrutchery Road. There's a cloudy scene here. There's no blue skies. Just 15 seconds to go to the start of this RST Superbike TT. Mark Pendlebury, the starter, stands alongside John McGuinness on this fabulous-looking Paul Bird Motorsport. Welcome to Jordan. We remember them fondly. The revs are rising. He's away. 6 times a Superbike winner, John McGuinness, most recently in 2012. Away at 2, the youngest of the seeded riders, Nathan Harrison. On the H&H Motorcycles Honda, 4th a year ago for the 27-year-old. Third away, the fastest man in practice by a long old way, Dean Harrison on the Honda Racing UK, the sister bike to John McGuinness's fastest qualifier. Next to go will be Jamie Coward on another of the Hondas, riding for Rapid Honda with Drive Live this year. He missed last year's campaign due to injury, but it's his 10th TT campaign. Dave O'Johnson from Adelaide in Australia goes on the Platinum Club Racing Kawasaki with Carl Cox. Hear him away off under the bridge. 13th TT campaign for him. Then Michael Dunlop gets away. There he goes on the MD Racing Honda, the Hawk Racing machine. 5 Superbike wins for him. Josh Brooks goes next. Looked really good in qualifying for the Dow Racing man. Bingley in Australia for him. He's already had 2 TT podiums. Can he add to that today? Nobody at 8 where Davy Todd would have been. So the next man to go will be Mike Brown from Calais on the Cafe International by Russell Racing Honda. He made his debut in 2019. He's twice been a podium finisher. Then Peter Hickman, coming back from those 2 crashes over the last 2 years on the Motorrad BMW, the 810 Racing team. Outright lap record holder, of course, and 3 times a winner of this Superbike race. Next to go, Connor Cummins, the Manxman riding his own Conrad Motorsport BMW, switching off the Bavums machine. He's launched that BMW team for the first time this year. Then Ian Hutchinson goes, the Otley rider. He's also launched his own team with RST. He's a 2-time winner of this race, most recently in 2017. Dominic Herbertson, the likeable Dominic Herbertson from Hexham goes next. It's the first start for him with the KTS racing team that he switched to this year. Sean Anderson goes, pulls a wheelie off the line. Sean Anderson, the Banbridge man. He's also moved team this year to the Pens 13 BMW squad. Next away, Rob Hodgson, who is well settled with his SMT racing team on the Honda. He took his first podium at TT 2025. Paul Jordan gets his 8th TT campaign underway. The Macrofelt rider on the Jackson Racing, powered by Prosper 2 Honda. Next to go is Mikey Evans from Santon. Had a little tip-off at Griever Castle on Wednesday night in qualifying, but he's okay. He's been out-qualified since and good to ride. Philip Crow's the next away, the Market Raisin rider. He's starting his 11th TT. And behind him, Brian McCormack from Tremor on the Roadhouse Macau BMW. He made his debut here in 2010. The last of the seeded riders to go is Julian Trummer from Austria on the Smith Racing BMW. His 30th TT start is this race. Then we move into the non-seeds. Marcus Simpson is the first of those. Qualified in 17th fastest, looking to top his best TT finish of 12th. Mitchell Rees, the Kiwi, goes next on the Malenko by Padgett's Motorcycles Honda. Mitch, a newcomer last year, the best of the newcomers last year. Behind him, we spoke to him before the start, Miko Sweeney from Skerries in Ireland on the MJR Racing BMW. It is his 10th TT campaign. From San Marino, Maurizio Bottalico on the Head Trans Nigel Appleyard BMW. Good smooth start for him. Behind him from Finland, Erno Costamo, the king of Amatra on the RVS Motorsport BMW. See the leading riders already out through Ballacrane. Jonathan Perry goes next. The Winsford rider on the Honda. He's been 25th fastest in practice, and another rider we spoke to before the start was Alan Ventnor from Soweto in South Africa on the Future Exotics BMW, 26th fastest in qualifying. But we flick now to Glen Helen lap 1 because John McGuinness sweeps through the left-hander and makes his way up to the right-hander through Sarah's Cottage on that Paul Bird replica bike. We say huge welcome to Jordan Bird, who was on the line with him. So McGuinness is through, Hull Harrison's through, Nathan Harrison is through. We'll wait for one or two more riders to get through just to get an indication of a top 6. But it does look like Dino is the fastest so far. So as we might expect, we'll see how this leaderboard just shapes up. Dean Harrison is fastest as the next rider arrives, and we see Peter Hickman heading out through Gorthley.
Caught Nathan Harrison on the road by sort of Ballacrane area, so that'd be great for Nathan to sort of be able to tag onto the back of him and sort of drag him along. But Michael Dunlop looking like he's on a mission, and he's come through Glen Helen sector 4.8 seconds now behind Dean Harrison. So Dean Harrison at Glen Helen with a 4.8 second lead over Michael Dunlop, with Josh Brooks slotting into third, a further 3.7 seconds back.
That's the one. Harrison then the early leader in this RST Superbike TT race. It is very, very early. It's the opening sector of lap 1. Harrison leads Dunlop. Then Josh Brooks arrives, slots into third place. John McGuinness fourth at the moment. Mike Brown, Nathan Harrison. Who's that that's just moved in? Hickman arrives and he's up in third place. Hickman through Glen Helen then, and we see him on the pictures heading up towards Sarah's Cottage. He'll be one who will be wanting to step it up when we get to racing.
He will be. He'll have to step it up. You know, he knows that Dean Harrison's sort of been the man to catch through this week so far, and he's not going to take this. You know, he's a multiple winner in this class, and with so many wins already under his belt, he's going to be wanting to not let Dean get away. He knows that Dean's going to be fast from the start, so to keep in touch with him from the early start of these laps is sort of important for him, and he knows that.
We will keep an eye on this Dean Harrison lap. It's about a 133.7 pace. His run out to Glen Helen. Somebody's being overhauled there. I think that might be Dave O'Johnson, who is possibly being overhauled by, Michael Dunlop has got past Dave O'Johnson on the road already. So that 10-second start interval has been gobbled up and taken out as they make their way up through Bagaro and on from there, as riders still getting away from the line here at the TT Grandstand. More and more riders leaving. We're picking up Rob Hodgson as he comes through. Let's get you an idea then. I think most of the top end of the riders have been through, as we see Dunlop making his way through Douglas Road corner. Dave O'Johnson's going to do his best to try and stick with him. Jamie Coward as well is ahead of him. Then just coming through, Kirk Michael heading up towards the petrol station. Dunlop's already into sight, so Dunlop will be closing down on Jamie Coward next, but it's Harrison who will be closing down on John McGuinness because he's already passed Nathan Harrison, we think. So Dean Harrison leads at Glen Helen then by 4.8 seconds from Peter Hickman, who's 0.6 of a second down on Dunlop. Then Josh Brooks is next, 3.1 seconds down on Hickman. Then John McGuinness in 5th, 0.7 of a second down on Brooks. Ian Hutchinson in 6th, just 0.9 of a second down on McGuinness. Then 7th to 10th at the moment, Mike Brown, Nathan Harrison. Brian McCormack is up there in 9th. Great start for Brian McCormack. And then 10th place for Dave O'Johnson. As we pick John up over Ballacry, there's huge crowds everywhere around the course. Dean Harrison, I would say, is about 2, maybe 3 seconds behind John McGuinness. So he's already taken about 17 seconds or so out of John on the run out up towards Quarry Bends, where they are now.
Yeah, the timing screen out from Balaf there. Dean Harrison has got a 7.3 second lead from Michael Dunlop, who's just come through the sector. We haven't obviously got Peter Hickman through yet, but John McGuinness still leading on the road, but Dean Harrison sort of reeled him in really quite quick on this first lap. We have a big moment there for Jamie Coward over Balacry, getting big air over there, who's slotted into 7th place. We're just behind Dave O'Johnson. Great start from Dave O'Johnson, up into 6th. Obviously still waiting for Peter Hickman to come through the timing screen there at the last, starting way down.
We can take you a little bit further down the leaderboard at Glen Helen on that opening lap. Beyond Dave O'Johnson, who we had in 10th, we have Paul Jordan showing in 11th. Dominic Herbertson in 12th. Mikey Evans is 13th. Jamie Coward is 14th. Connor Cummins is all the way down in 15th, but we know he's riding the stocker in this race. Philip Crowe is 16th, 17th to 20th for Sean Anderson, Marcus Simpson, Michael Sweeney and Julian Trummer. But plenty more riders still to come as we flick back to Kurt Michael, and we'll have riders now through Balaf, get you an indication of where the leaderboard is. Dean Harrison extended the lead from 4.8 seconds out to 7.3 at Balaf. So he's added another 2.7 seconds to that advantage on the run from Glen Helen to Balaf. Dunlop continues to hold second. Hickman still third, and he is now just 7/10 of a second down on Dunlop. So Hickman's running at a similar pace to Dunlop on this opening lap. Then Josh Brooks is in 4th. John McGuinness continues to hold 5th. Nathan Harrison has got himself up to, he's overhauled Ian Hutchinson. Nathan Harrison up to 6th. He's half a second down on John McGuinness and only 7/10 of a second ahead of Ian Hutchinson. So it's very, very close in amongst these sort of top 6 positions. Then Mike Brown shows in 8th. Paul Jordan in 9th and Dominic Herbertson in 10th. As Harrison has now got past McGuinness.
Passing on to the inside of Schoolhouse Corner, then the run up to Schoolhouse just before the Ramsey section. Dean Harrison up the inside. So Dean Harrison now the leader on the road as he's coming up to Parliament Square. And he said in the interview there before the race that this is what he was going to do, get out of the blocks hot and sort of try and work to his pit boards. And he's had a brilliant target there with Nathan. And Nathan, unfortunately, not managed to sort of hold on to the back of him, just sort of broken him a little bit. But Dean Harrison currently leading on the road in front of that beautiful new livery there of John McGuinness as they're making their way up to Ramsey Hairpin there.
At Ramsey Hairpin for them then. In fact, Dunlop is now right with Coward. Dunlop has caught Coward on the road. That may just be costing him a second. He'll look to clear him on the run into Parliament Square. He does under the brakes. Dunlop goes past Coward. The two Hondas together. Dunlop then sweeps down the inside. Nice and clean overtake there.
Yeah, beautiful there. It's important that starting number 6, these all guys that start in front of you, they're super fast guys. And with Dean starting number 3 and getting past the traffic real quick, all these guys that have the lower numbers. So Peter Hickman starting down in 10th. When you catch the guys in front, it's really important that you don't get holed up or catch them in a place that's going to be sort of really difficult to pass. So it was important there that Michael Dunlop made the move as early as possible.
Dean Harrison then on the split to times that we have to Ramsey is on the fastest ever standing start lap that we have seen at the TT. He's there in 10 minutes 22. The outright lap record, the split is 10:18. So even with a standing start, he's only 4 seconds outside of absolute lap record pace.
Yeah, we sort of saw this pace all the way through practice week. 135.4 on the super stock bike, not the super bike that we're on now. So he's sort of shown this pace, and it sort of seemed to come real easy for him. It's incredibly difficult. These machines are 200 plus brake horse. They're absolute animals. Trying to hold on to these and do that pace and keep your lines smooth and clean all the way around. But doing that pace on an opening lap from a standing start is definitely showing that he's the man to beat today.
Peter's impressing here, though, Mike.
Yeah, he is. One thing we do need to just consider is Pete isn't quite at the sort of peak physical fitness we've seen him over the years. He's been struggling a little bit with his shoulder, so to go fast on an opening lap is fantastic. Let's just hope he can keep that pace up for the 6-lap race and continue giving Michael Dunlop the run for his money that he's doing at the minute.
Yeah,
Sorry, go on, Patrick.
Currently 1.9 seconds behind Michael Dunlop, so a brilliant opening lap there for Peter Hickman, considering that he's not up to full health, like what Mike Booth just said there.
Looking at the Ramsey times then, Dean Harrison extends the lead again, this time out to 8 seconds from Michael Dunlop. Then it's 1.9 seconds, as Patrick has just said, back between Dunlop and Hickman. Josh Brooks is then 7.2 seconds down on Hickman in 4th. Then John McGuinness is continuing to hold on to that top 5 position, 3.5 seconds down on Brooks. Mike Brown has now got himself up into 6th place, 1.x seconds down on McGuinness, 0.8 of a second up on Harrison. Then Ian Hutchinson is in 8th, only 1 second essentially down on Nathan Harrison. Then Dominic Herbertson showing in 9th, 2.2 seconds down on Hutchinson. Jamie Coward 1.7 seconds down on Herbertson in 10th. 11th to 15th at the moment, Paul Jordan, Dave O'Johnson, Connor Cummins, Phil Crow and Michael Evans, as we pick up Dean Harrison, our race leader, through the bungalow. Patrick.
Yeah, through the bungalow. I've just been looking there. 6 Hondas in the top 7 at Ramsey hairpin there on the opening lap. So the Hondas seem to be really working well this year. They seem to have found something a little bit extra. In years gone by, so the BMW 1000RR have been the bike to have. But they seem to have found something this year, and all the Honda boys are really making use of that machinery that they've got underneath them.
It maybe explains a little bit as to why Michael Dunlop's chosen to ride the Honda Fireblade in the Superbike race. Obviously, we know he's on a BMW in the Super Stock race, and that was a decision that a lot of people were a little bit, I wouldn't say confused, but you know, the idea of running completely different manufacturers in the big bike races means you've got a whole different setup to work on both bikes, and it can be quite difficult to jump from one bike to another, especially if they're different manufacturers. So you know, that's if the Fireblades are in Superbike trim are this competitive, which we can see they are from the amount of Honda Fireblades in the top 5 or 6, it's it maybe explains as to why he's chosen that Fireblade rather than sticking on the BMW for the Superbike race.
Yeah, I think anybody at this stage of his career, if anybody questions Michael's decisions with the machinery that he uses, he's well known for just picking and choosing whichever bikes he feels is going to do the best job for him. So I think it was pretty clear when he decided to go down that route that the Honda was quite possibly going to be the bike to have this year.
Yeah, and a man who's won as many TTs as he has, you can't really question his methods, can you?
199.6 miles an hour for Michael Dunlop down the Sulby Straight. That gives him a couple of a mile an hour advantage over Josh Brooks, who's the second fastest down there, 197.5. Mike Brown, third fastest, 197.3. So Dunlop has got the pace, but Harrison is the man who's absolutely flying. He's got the lead up over 10 seconds now. 10 seconds, Harrison leads Dunlop by 10.1 at the bungalow. Then Peter Hickman is 2.1 seconds down on Dunlop, so keeping him in touch, that's for sure. Josh Brooks continues to hold 4th, now 7 seconds down on Hickman. McGuinness then is in 5th, 5.6 seconds down on Brooks. Ian Hutchinson rounding out the top 6, but it won't be long before we get Harrison. In fact, he's at Crocknamona already. Purple sector times absolutely everywhere, which means he is the fastest man out there absolutely everywhere, every single sector, and he's still on for the standing start record at the TT, fastest standing start lap that we've ever seen. We can see the helicopter that's tracking. We can already see that as we look up to our right. He's down through Bedstead. He drops down towards the nuke. Keep that power on, then just find the right pace to pop up out from under the screen. Give yourself that extra braking. Tip it into the nook. Go down under the trees in the nook where it's there's a little bit of a lack of adhesion flag just being shown on the first lap, they said at race control. Pops out from under the trees into Governor's Bridge. Tail it round the really tight right-hander. They go back under the trees in the dip. Then arrive out onto Glen Crutchery Road. Get ready. Here at the grandstand, Dean Harrison's about to fly past at the end of the opening lap. Your race leader. And it's 134.892 from a standing start. Wow, 134.8 for Dean Harrison. That was John McGuinness going past. John's doing really well as well, top 5, so the 2 factory Hondas are out front on the road, but that's a stunning lap by Dean Harrison to start the meeting.
Yeah, but he's been seemingly able to do these lap times at relative ease all the way from the very first practice session, and he's translated it straight into race trim down there on the first lap, 134.892. Yeah, he's unbelievable on this TT. He set his stall out early on the very first practice day, and he's just taking it into race day now.
It's Nathan Harrison over 130 as well. He's just gone through across the line. That was Michael Dunlop going through. Nathan Harrison 130.316. Dunlop has stepped it up, 133.297 for Michael Dunlop. That's the best we've seen from him this week. Jamie Coward goes through as well on the Honda, 129.8.
Yeah, Michael Dunlop well over a mile an hour faster than he's gone so far. So them guys have worked hard and found something coming into this race, and it's translating now, but he still just can't quite live. 12.051 seconds. It's sort of a couple of seconds every sector that Dean's sort of been able to find over the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's adding to it every single time.
And it'll be interesting, won't it, when Dean starts getting his pit boards and they say P1 plus 12 seconds, he'll know that he's got a 12-second lead. Will he keep pushing the Fireblade as hard as he is and doing them lap times, or will he just sort of rein it in a little bit, just take a mile an hour or two off his lap times and maintain that lead? Because it doesn't matter how many seconds you win a TT by, if you get across the line quickest, you've won the race. So he'll be thinking about that, whether or not it's worth just pushing the bike as hard as he's doing already.
Peter Hickman across the line there. Less than a second now between Michael Dunlop and Peter Hickman. 0.933 seconds. 133.175 lap time for Peter Hickman. That's the fastest lap of his TT fortnight so far.
Yeah, one or two of the other times of riders that have flashed through. Davo Johnson on the Kawasaki, 129.65. Josh Brooks on the Dow Honda, 132.1. Patrick's given you Peter Hickman's time. Mike Brown has gone through 130.3. Ian Hutchinson 130.5, and that was Connor Cummins, the last rider you heard going through, at 129.2. I think we have most of the riders we're looking for in the top 10 battle. So it's Harrison leads Dunlop by 12 seconds after one lap of 6. Peter Hickman then, as Patrick says, 0.9 of a second down on Dunlop in second. Josh Brooks continues to hold fourth, 7.7 seconds down on Hickman. John McGuinness continues to hold fifth, 7.6 seconds down on Brooks. Then Ian Hutchinson in sixth is 4.7 seconds down on John McGuinness. Mike Brown in seventh place. Him and Nathan Harrison are swapping that position around at every sector. Mike Brown has it as they come over the line at the end of lap 1, and it's 2 seconds down on Ian Hutchinson. Then Nathan Harrison is only 1/10 of a second down on Brown. That's how close it is. Jamie Coward holds 9th, 4.1 seconds down on Nathan, and then Davo Johnson is in 10th.
Yeah, just looking outside the top 12 there, Connor Cummins had a real slow start. He was down well outside the top 15 in the first couple of sectors, but he's managed to come back to 12th so far with a lap time of 129.263. So Connor sort of getting into a groove, the local Ramsey Rocket there.
He is indeed, as we catch the leading riders well out. In fact, looks like Nathan Harrison, I think, going out towards Ballacrane as we pick Michael Dunlop up through Gorsley over the top of Ballagharrigan, jump on the run down into Ballacrane. Looking well, Mike.
Yeah, he is. He's really sort of over the past few years, his style has just tidied up a little bit. He used to be a rider that was a little bit hectic, a little bit manic on the bike. The bike would be moving around a lot, and he's just. I think he's calmed down on the bike a little bit, and that's allowed him to go faster. He's obviously not quite as on the pace of Dean, and perhaps not quite the pace that we've seen from Michael in the past few years, but he certainly looks good on the bike. He's got a fantastic style.
The pace isn't that of Dean Harrison yet, but he is looking super aggressive. We've seen all the footage we've seen so far. He's using all the road, letting the bike run out real wide to the outside of the track, so he is looking super aggressive, and though he's on it, but Dean's just seems to be just eking out that lead at every sector.
Dominic Herbertson, we understand, is stopped at Hilbury. So Dominic Herbertson's race looks like it's come to an end on the KTS, racing by Stanley Stewart BMW up at Hilbury, unfortunately. But meantime, the top 3 on the road or through Glen Helen. Dean Harrison leads on the road and in the race. He's away up through Sarah's Cottage and will be on to Cronkabody by now. We see Nathan Harrison just coming through. He's being caught by Michael Dunlop. There's probably 3 or 4 seconds between Nathan Harrison and Michael Dunlop on the road. John McGuinness is in between them, still running second on the road to Dean Harrison. In terms of the race, Harrison has added another 3 seconds on the run between the grandstand here and Glen Helen on lap 2. It's now 15.2 seconds in a lap and 1 sector. 15 seconds plus.
Yeah, he's just got out of the blocks, but there's still a long way to go. You know, this is the hardest road race in the world. It's 6 laps. They're only not even a third of the way through the second lap yet, so still a long way to go. And a 15-second lead isn't unsurmountable for somebody like Michael Dunlop and Peter Hickman.
No, and you know, we have to remember we've got 2 pit stops in this race. You can easily lose 15 seconds in a pit stop. You know, the slightest thing can go wrong. One of the mechanics can drop a wheel nut and roll it across the pit box. You can have a problem trying to get your filler cap back on. You know, the bike might not start. There's all sorts of things that can happen. So, you know, if he does see his pit boards with a big advantage and starts rolling off, he won't want to lose too much of an advantage, that's for sure.
Such a nice position to be in, though. You're going around, you're riding your bike, and you're riding at a pace what's comfortable for you, and the bike feels comfortable, and you're looking at your pit boards when you get them, and it's P1, and the gap's getting bigger and bigger. It's such a nice position to be in.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's a nicer feeling than seeing P1 plus 10, P1 plus 12, P1 plus 15. Unfortunately, I've never been in that position myself, so but I can imagine it's pretty cool.
Riding with massive confidence as well, of course, Dean Harrison. We pick up Nathan Harrison coming into Douglas Road corner. Dunlop still that 3, maybe 4, might be 5 seconds or so behind actually, but Dunlop has come from start position 6. Nathan was at start position 2, so that's the pace difference between them, but Nathan is nonetheless having a really good ride here as he comes through Kirkmichael Village, and Dunlop appears behind him, menacingly right behind him. Dunlop is coming if you're Nathan Harrison. But Nathan will have expected that before the start as well. Harrison makes it to Ballaugh Bridge. Dean, that is, the leader on the road. Dean Harrison is at Ballaugh Bridge on lap 2. And at what point are you starting to think about the pit stop when you're on this second lap?
For me, it was probably coming out the Cregner Bar, so a little bit further around the lap. You know, they'll know how well the engines are using fuel. If you've had a bit of a headwind during the race, the bike sometimes use a little bit more fuel. So coming out the Craig, you might just short shift a tiny little bit just to eke out an extra few miles out of your bike. But yeah, coming out the Craig, you'll be thinking right in the pit lane this time. And then when you get to the pit lane, it's really important that you're so disciplined with your speed, because at 0.1 of a mile an hour over the limit and you'll get a penalty. So it's like I say, a big part of the race, the pit stops at the end of this lap.
Harrison's Ballaugh to Ballaugh is 135.4 miles per hour. The Superbike lap record is, of course, held by Michael Dunlop at 135.9. So he's about 3-4 seconds off that just at the moment, but we'll see how he goes around the rest of the lap. He might already be getting signals saying you've got 15 seconds, and you might just be thinking, it's a long old race, conserve this.
Yeah, because there's, you know, you can wear these bikes out, you can wear your tyres out, you can wear your body out. He'll want to just be a little bit conservative, I think, when he sees them that plus 15. But then at the same time, sometimes if you're doing if he's comfortable doing 135 mile an hour pace, if you drop that down to 132, sometimes that's when you start making mistakes, because you know that your gear pattern's a little bit different, your braking points are a little bit different, so you've got to be a little bit careful if you are going to drop off that pace somewhat.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be thinking about that at this. I think he'll just be concentrating on building a lead, which has gone out another couple of seconds on the run out to Ballaugh. 17.7 seconds now, and that gap between Michael Dunlop and Peter Hickman has just sort of levelled off. It's sort of fluctuating between 1.2 and 0.9 seconds. So them guys, for the second and third, that battle is really heating up, and there's going to be nothing to put over him at the end of this second lap, I don't think, into the pits.
No, you're right. And Michael Dunlop has just caught Nathan Harrison at the just at the Ginger Hall there, and that's a section where it's really difficult to overtake. So if Nathan, as we know, is going a little bit slower than Michael, it might just hold him up a little bit, and that might be the difference between second and third place for Dunlop, because, like you say, Peter is really snapping at his heels.
Let's take you a little bit further down the leaderboard at the end of lap 1. 11th place was Paul Jordan, 12th for Connor Cummins, 13th for Brian McCormack. We'll break off from this down to Chris Kinley.
Yeah, he's had his 99th start, and he was saying he's been struggling with his bike all week. And the number 51 and Mark Parrott is in. He's shaking his head. He's off the Suzuki, supposed to be in a BMW BN, not looking all in, but he's got his 99th start, and looks like his boot isn't closing as well. So a problem with his clothing, but looks like it is. Gloves are off. Mark Parrott is a retirement, but he has got that 99th start.
Such a shame for him, but meanwhile Dean Harrison is making his way up through Crookshanks and Mayhill, off up to Whitegates. Crowds are already applauding him for his performances that he's putting it out there. Just clips the giveaway line at Whitegates as he makes his way up into Stella Maris. The drive uphill into the right-hander at Stella Maris, well away from the Recticel on the left-hand side. The familiar Bruce Anstey line used to be right out to the Recticel there. Dean was well in from that. He's away off up the hairpin. Dunlop is still behind Nathan Harrison. Exactly as you said, Mike Booth, just not possible to get past really in that sector.
No, it's so tight, but we are seeing the guys just approaching Parliament Square. Really good opportunity for Michael Dunlop to pass. Oh, it doesn't look like he's got through. So, I mean, that just shows you the pace that Nathan Harrison's running, and it'll be a little bit frustrating for Michael Dunlop, but they are at a section of the course where I think he's probably gonna find a way through. It might be at Ramsey Hairpin. What that means is it's a really good place for Nathan Harrison to stick on Michael Dunlop's back wheel for as much as he can, and glean as much information from him, and just the lines and where he can let go of the brakes and run a bit more speed through the corner. So Nathan Harrison in a fantastic place. Dunlop in a bit of a difficult one at the minute.
Dunlop again has a look up the inside at the hairpin, but still can't do it. Nathan Harrison's not giving this up at all as they head up towards Waterworks. Dunlop was out to the left-hand side looking to try and sweep round. Not sure if he's going to be able to do it, but being caught behind Nathan Harrison has cost Dunlop 4 seconds. The lead has gone out from 17.7 seconds to 21.6, while Michael Dunlop has been caught with Nathan Harrison, and Nathan Harrison's going at a sufficient enough pace that he just can't make that difference. It's allowed Peter Hickman to move up into second place. Hickman now takes second, 20.2 seconds down on Harrison, 1.3 seconds up on Dunlop. It's really cost Dunlop.
This is where your start position is so crucial. I mean, these guys pick their own start positions, and if you get behind somebody that's just fast in a certain sector to keep with you, and you could see there the sort of frustration building as he was trying to go up the inside of him into Ramsey Hairpin, and on the ride up to Waterworks there you could see he was hanging on the outside of him, but you could see visibly shaking his head, so frustration possibly setting in there, and it's cost him the second place so far.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and we lost the video stream of the guys just about Waterworks, and I don't know if he got past there, but all that section all the way up to the gooseneck, it's quite tight and twisty, and there isn't many opportunities to pass, so that might be a couple more seconds lost for Michael Dunlop.
Yeah, and you can't blame Nathan. Nathan's running his race. He's out there, and he's not looking behind him. He's looking forward. So it's the difficult position to be in when you get caught behind, and now that's cost Michael Dunlop second place in this race coming up to the pit stops.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have mirrors on these race bikes, do we? He'll have had no idea who's behind him. He might have heard a bike, but it's not up to him to pull over and let the rider behind past. It's up to the rider behind to safely make that pass. And you'd have thought someone like Michael Dunlop ought to be able to do that, and he will do that. He'll make sure he does that at a safe space. So yeah, we're just looking at the screens now, and it looks as though Michael Dunlop has cleared Nathan Harrison. Nathan Harrison not with Michael Dunlop on the road anymore.
Yeah, John McGuinness up to 5th place and 3.09 seconds behind Josh Brooks. So brilliant there on that beautiful new livery that he's got out there in this commemoration for the 30th year of his TT start.
Let's have a look at the top 10 then at Ramsey Hairpin, lap 2, heading over the mountain into the pit stops for the first time. Dean Harrison leading by 20.2 seconds from now. Peter Hickman. Then Michael Dunlop 1.3 seconds down on Hickman. He has now cleared Nathan Harrison. Josh Brooks sits in 4th still, 19.4 seconds down on Dunlop. John McGuinness still a fine 5th, 3 seconds down on Josh Brooks. Ian Hutchinson is up in 6th, 13.4 seconds down on McGuinness. Then 7th for Nathan Harrison, 8th for Jamie Coward, who's moved up to that position. Mike Brown drops down to 9th. Connor Cummins has worked his way into the top 10. There might be one or two later starters still to come, but he's showing in 10th at the moment. 11th for Davo Johnson, 12th for Paul Jordan, 13th Philip Crowe, 14th Sean Anderson, 15th Mikey Evans, and 16th for Rob Hodson, as the front 4 on the road are now through the bungalow. The lead goes out by another couple of seconds, 22.9 seconds over Michael Dunlop, but we're waiting for Peter Hickman to arrive. Just Dunlop, Harrison, McGuinness and Nathan Harrison through the bungalow so far.
Yeah, a masterclass really, isn't it, by Dean Harrison so far? Not just today, but all week. He's been the man to beat on the big bikes, and he's taken everything from practice week and just brought it into today's race. And it doesn't look like anyone's got anything to keep up with Dean. He's really doing something special out there today.
Yeah, but these guys behind him that are chasing him, they've been in that position in the past where they've sort of just eked out a lead and it's just grown and grown and been in that sort of perfect sort of position just to sort of build the lead and get the gap bigger and bigger. And, you know, a real nice position now. He's coming down. He knows that he'll be coming into the pits in this lap, but the guys are getting down there, ready in the pit lane. We can see them.
Hickman arrives at the bungalow and Dunlop's closed the gap to 0.3 of a second. So Hickman continues to hold second, but it's down from 1.3 seconds to 0.3 of a second. And over Michael Dunlop, who now has clear air.
Yeah, Michael Dunlop, I imagine that it's not going to be a sort of the calm head underneath that helmet after being held up, because he'll have got a pit board and he'll know that he'll have lost second place, because he'll have known that he was in a close battle for that second and third place. So it won't be a calm head under there, and he'll be sort of pushing on now over the mountains to try and make up lost time effectively from being behind Nathan Harrison, get caught up in the...
He'll have seen his pit boards going from P2 to P3 and he'll have known exactly why. So that'll, there'll be a bit of steam coming out of his ears for a couple of corners. But it looks like he's doing something about it, isn't he? Because that is, after nearly 60 miles around here, they're less than half a second between them.
John McGuinness, the second man on the road on the PBM Motorsport liveried factory Honda. He is the second man on the road, still fifth in the race, but Dean Harrison emerges out of Governor's Dip onto Glen Crutchley Road. He'll be coming into those pit stops very shortly. Just see if Dunlop can get through. There's 23 seconds between Harrison and Dunlop, but it's going to be Hickman we're looking for. Let's get you down to Chris Kinley.
Here he comes in past the old stop box and rumbles down and leading this race by 22 seconds and a bit at Cronk-Namona. And there he is, stops there now. The yellow bit of dust that goes on the front there now, and the fuel will go in. You can hear the ratchet gun go. And there's the spindle pulled out. There's the chain off the back sprocket. That'll be sat on the swinging arm. And the rear wheel out, easy, nice and calm. They have a new tear off. The tear off has come off the tear off on the visor there now, and there we go. There's a spindle going in any second now. The chain is dropped on, the wheel spins, and you can hear the klaxon going once more. And here he is, John McGuinness, holding on to pretty good top six place at the moment. John is in, and there's the torque wrench on for Dino, nice and calm, being told everything, and the crowd giving John McGuinness a big round of applause there as John comes in on his 30th TT start. But it's Dean Harrison we're looking for. That lap there though, Chris Boyd, 134.765. Do you concur?
Yes, I think so, yeah. The fastest lap was the opening lap, 134.892. They're just slowing down, but Dunlop arrives, Chris.
Yeah, there is Dino going now. Dino exits pit lane now, and John McGuinness is in. And it's Michael Dunlop who's all swim, but it's 10, Peter Hickman, who we have to wait for. Peter Hickman, he will be already at Cronk-Namona. Who's at Cronk-Namona? John McGuinness. We know Nathan Harrison's in. Here is Nathan, young Nathan there now, and Michael will be hoping that Nathan doesn't go out before him. Hopefully no problems for Michael in the pit stop. Let's look at Michael's time. We'll get that to you in a second. We'll give you the pit stop time actually for Dean Harrison, 59.0 as John McGuinness leaves. Here's Josh Brooks on the 7, and there's 4, Jamie Coward right in front of us now in the Rapid Honda. He stops there now. Michael Dunlop's team just putting the torque wrench on. There it goes. Clicked it into whatever Newton meters that goes to. Who's the next bike in? Is 10. Here's Hickman in. McGuinness's pit stop. Well, 59.0 for Harrison, 56.5 for McGuinness.
Second, Boydie. Dunlop's reclaimed second coming into the pits.
Brilliant stuff, yeah, well spotted, Boydie. Michael Dunlop in and away. So Hickman is in there now. 10 is in. Hickman, 4. Of course, is Coward. There he is. Number 2, Nathan Harrison. He's just getting off there now. Davo Johnson in. And number 7 on the Dow Racing bike. That, of course, is Josh Brooks. Michael Dunlop's pit stop, 55.26. Nathan Harrison's pit stop. I said they're all getting around about 54, 55, 56, 57 seconds. Hickman's team taking a bit longer time there. They seem to be anyway. Jamie Coward, nice and steady. Jamie is away. Another machine has just gone down the bottom. That's the Dow Racing bike of Josh Brooks. The leaderboard will change. And here's Mike Brown holding on to a good spot. Peter Hickman, watch that pace, Peter. He's on the number 10 bike. He's just setting himself in again. And Peter Hickman is away. So Jamie Coward on his pit stop. Let's give you that 56. McGuinness 56. Harrison. And where's Hickman's team? 54.2. So that's a quicker pit stop for Peter Hickman than Michael Dunlop as we get number 12, Ian Hutchinson, and we got 11 in, Connor Cummins as well. Any changes in the leaderboard? And what are we talking lap speeds? Chris Boyd.
Too much going on. We're trying to do the sums. So, yeah, Dean Harrison's done a 59.0 pit stop. Peter Hickman did a 54.2. Michael Dunlop a 55.2. So, Hickman, having just lost second place, will now have gained it back again by 0.8 of a second. So, it'll be Harrison by a slightly reduced margin, about 4 seconds taken out. It'll be Harrison by about 20.3 seconds from Hickman. Then about 0.8 of a second between Hickman and Dunlop. Josh Brooks will continue to hold fourth place. fifth, then John McGuinness in fifth and Ian Hutchinson in sixth. Let's try and find the lap times for that second lap. Get those to you as well, so much information going on. Second lap then, Dean Harrison, 16 minutes 47.888, 134.765. Michael Dunlop, 17 minutes 00.163, 133.143. Peter Hickman dipped just under the 17 as well, 16 minutes 59.523 is 133.227. Josh Brooks 132.0, so too 132.0 for John McGuinness, 130 flat for Ian Hutchinson, 130.3 for Jamie Coward, Mike Brown 129.5, Nathan Harrison 129.7. So slightly reduced margin by Dean Harrison, but he probably had enough to take a nice controlled pit stop there, knowing he had a few seconds if he needed it.
Yeah, they're all those pit stops that we could see from this commentary position up here look really clean, tidy, sensible. Nothing seemed to go wrong. It was great to see that pit stop time from Ian Hickman's crew, because to be honest, they were the only one who. It just seemed like it took a little while for Pete Hickman's bike to fire up as he exited his pit space, but obviously the super quick pit stop time for the crew of Peter Hickman.
Yeah, and the longest part of the pit stop is the fueling, because these canisters are all gravity fed, so the tyre guys do get a little bit of a time where it's quicker to change a wheel than it is for it to refuel, so not as much pressure on these guys if it was down to them, but still the pressure on them rear wheel guys is immense to make sure everything goes in right, the wheel's back tight, it's all torqued up to the correct setting.
Yeah, you can definitely do a wheel quicker than a fuel if it goes right, but if something goes wrong, that's when there's a problem.
Dean Harrison's already out through Glen Helen. We'll wait for the others to arrive. Let's get back down to all the action that's happening in pit lane, Chris.
And as Phil Crowes currently hold the 15th place provisionally at the moment, he is on the 18 bike. He's just in and out of the pit stop there. We've got Mitch Rees just coming as well on 29. He's slotted into where's he slotted into 20th place. And Michael Sweeney just in as well on the 22 bike. On the MJR bike, Michael Sweeney slots into 18th place. Marcus Simpson in on the 24 bike. He slots in to 16th position. Marcus just ahead of me here now. We got another bike at the top there. I think that's Julian Trummer by the colour scheme. It is a good position there. Rob Hodgson on 15. He's holding on to 19th position as Marcus Simpson get away as Maurizio Bottalico comes in. And where does Maurizio slot into? 23rd. And we've got Erno Costomo also in here as well. He slots into provisional 22nd up. But don't forget, we've got to do this all again in a couple of laps time. Chris.
Plenty going on. 3 riders then are out through Glen Helen as we see Michael Dunlop sweep up towards Sarah's Cottage. He's had that time held up by Nathan Harrison. He now has got the road to himself out there. He's running third on the road. Dean Harrison continues to lead on the road and in the race out on lap 3 of this RST Superbike TT. John McGuinness continues to run second on the road. He's not going anywhere, John, is he?
No, he's having a brilliant time, isn't he? Just holding that 5th place there, just behind Ian Hutchinson, I think it is. On the timing sheet, so yeah, brilliant for John. I don't know what lap time he did on that.
He doesn't want to give up, John McGuinness, does he? I think he's fed up of people asking him when he's going to retire, isn't he? He's one of the more experienced riders out there, to say the least. But I think he just loves riding his bike, and he loves being part of this event. He loves being part of the Honda team. It's great to see the making a bit of a fuss of him with that beautiful livery this today for the Superbike race.
Yeah, we're speaking at the head of the show how fantastic Josh Brooks is going, and then John McGuinness only 7.4 seconds behind Josh Brooks in 5th place at Glen Helen on lap 3.
Someone with an issue in the pit lane, Chris?
Yeah, it is. It's Maurizio Bottalico, just can't get the machine started, and the rules state that they're not allowed to push him after they get to where the 60-kilometre sign. And Jonathan Perry, tight! Jonathan Perry, really, really tight. He can't get his machine started. The number 30, the Gordon Huxley Honda, he can't get that fired up at the moment. Also in here as well, number 36, and we've also got Baz Ferbert in here too. How many more we got? And one more at the top there as well. I think he's getting off the bike. No, he's not getting off the bike, but Maurizio Bottalico, don't think he's managed to get that started. He's just there now, going down onto where the road goes onto return road. But 2 riders here, he's got it going. Maurizio is away, the San Marino rider, and John O'Perry, unfortunately, looks like Jonathan is going to be a retirement. And that is Stefano Bonetti going past me, and there's Baz Ferber. Busy down here.
It sounds it really does. The leading riders, meantime, are out on the west side of the course. Dean Harrison has just arrived at Ballaugh Bridge, leader on the road. Glen Helen, he led by 24.4 seconds over Dunlop, who we thought had lost that second place to Peter Hickman, but he's got it back by just 0.3 of a second on the road out to Glen Helen. So Dunlop back in second place, 24.4 seconds down on Harrison. Then Hickman is only 0.3 of a second down on Dunlop. Then Josh Brooks is 22 seconds down on Hickman in fourth. John McGuinness in fifth, just 7.4 seconds down on Brooks, and that is ahead of Jamie Coward, who's rounding out the top 6 at the moment. He's eclipsed Ian Hutchinson for that spot, so Ian Hutchinson drops down to 7th in the pit stops. Jamie Coward takes 6th. There's only 0.4 of a second between them. Nathan Harrison is then only 5 seconds down on Hutchinson in 8th. Then Mike Brown is 1.9 seconds down on Harrison. Some really tight battles going on in the lower end of these top 10. He's in 9th. Connor Cummins still showing in 10th as Paul Jordan is the 11th rider to arrive at Glen Helen. Meantime, Harrison, McGuinness and Dunlop are all through Ballaugh.
Absolute masterclass from Dean Harrison, just constantly eking out this time, up to 27.5 seconds now at Ballaugh on lap 3 from Michael Dunlop. It's just in that groove. You're just going out, riding your bike, riding your lines, and just everything just seems to come with you. And like you were saying before, Mike, it's just easier sometimes not to roll off because you can end up in the wrong gear, you can outbrake yourself. You just keep that concentration at that speed you're going when it seems to be coming so comfortably for him. We've shown him that from day one of practice, that them lap times are so consistent and easily coming to him.
It's a flat battery that's put Jonathan Perry out of the race. Unfortunately, Mike Russell has incurred the trouble of the speed cops in pit lane. 30-second penalty for Mike Russell, and we understand that Davo Johnson has stopped at Glendarrick. So Davo Johnson out in Glenvine on lap 3 of this RST Superbike TT. But meantime, the leading riders are flying up towards they're heading up towards Ramsey already. The over Balacry jump, we see Peter Hickman absolutely pinned on that Motorrad BMW.
It does look super stable though, that bike going over that jump. There doesn't seem to be anything out of place with him, and he's trying, and he knows it's just eked out to 3/4 of a second now behind Michael Dunlop. So he knows he's in a battle with Michael for second. They told him who they were battling with in the pit stop when they come in, and he'll be doing everything to sort of bridge that gap and sort of try and get back to Michael and then try and build again after taking second earlier on the lap 2.
Yeah, really stable them BMWs. They've got some great big sort of aerodynamic wings on the side. Like them or not, at the speeds that the guys do on the TT course, they do make a big difference. At slower speeds, there's not such a big effect, but when you go in 150, 160, nearly 200 miles an hour down the back straights, the amount of downforce that's produced is phenomenal, and it really helps the bike stable over some of them big jumps, and it means you can hold the throttle open just that little bit longer rather than rolling to stop the bike jumping. You can keep the throttle pinned, and the extra downforce keeps the wheels planted on the ground.
Peter Hickman now in the same predicament that Michael Dunlop was in, because he's coming up to Jamie Coward on the road, and again Jamie Coward's no slouch. He's a 132 mile an hour man round this TT course, and if he catches in place, so he's in the same predicament now as what Michael Dunlop was in. Hopefully try and get past the traffic, because I noticed someone else on the road was just in front of them guys, so he's got a couple of bikes to try and navigate now while he's trying to overhaul this deficit that he's got to Michael Dunlop.
It's sometimes just about luck, isn't it? The luck of the draw, where you catch the rider in front. Certain places it's actually not too bad to pass. You can slipstream them into some of the long straights, or just nip past them in some of the hard braking areas, but if they're in the section that they're in now, the sort of Gingery Hall to Ramsey section, it's really bumpy, really hard to control the bikes. You're going from curb to hedge to curb to hedge. It's really difficult to pass, and it's that is what you're going to get when you start 10th. Peter Hickman, he chooses to start number 10 on the road. So whilst it's a bit of it's always nice to have that target in front of you and help drag you along. It does mean if you want a really good result,
as
you are
we
going
watched
to
there,
have to
he
overtake.
Pass him on the inside there into Schoolhouse Corner again, but he's got Nathan Harrison in front of him and Josh Brooks that he's sort of coming up on. So in the next couple of laps he's going to be sort of on them, and he's hopefully won't lose too much time in this battle for second place.
David Datzer also gets a penalty in the pit lane. 30 seconds for David Datzer. We are awaiting Peter Hickman to arrive at Ramsey Hairpin on lap 3 of this RST Superbike TT. At the moment, there he is. He's still 0.4 of a second down on Dunlop. So Harrison now leads by 28.5 seconds. Hickman then only 0.4 of a second down on Dunlop. Josh Brooks continues to hold on to fourth. Ramsey lap 3, 27.8 seconds down on Hickman. John McGuinness continues to hold fifth, and he's only 5.7 seconds down on Brooks, so he's closing that gap down a little bit as well. Jamie Coward continues to hold sixth. We await Ian Hutchinson to arrive from start position of 12. He is 7th place at the moment at Ballath.
Yeah, so Peter Hickman obviously not too disadvantaged by Jamie Coward there, but is Nathan Harrison going to give him the same treatment as he gave Dunlop a lap ago?
Yeah, and in between them two there's Josh Brooks as well, so he has got a couple of bikes to try and get past in the meantime, but he's coming up to the mountain section, and Peter Hickman has always been renowned for being really fast over the mountain, so hopefully be able to clear them guys fairly handily and not get held up too much in this battle for second place.
It is where he used to have a huge advantage. Every lap he used to have advantage. I think that's been eked out of him a little bit over the last few years, but he always used to be able to take 2-3 seconds out of the entire field on the run up the mountain, Peter Hickman.
Yeah, and it's open and flowing and fast, so it is one of the sections that, you know, you can slipstream someone and pass someone reasonably safely, so hopefully if he does catch any of the slightly slower riders in front of him, he will be able to nip past them. But as we said before, the guys in front of him are only slightly slower, and that does make it really difficult to pass. If you catch someone who you're, you know, a lap quicker than, it's not a problem. If they're a few seconds a lap quicker, that's when it's difficult.
Yeah, the moments that we saw there, Michael Dunlop trying to get past Nathan Harrison. He tried into Parliament Square, and then he tried into Ramsey Hairpin, so it was all the places on the brakes, and like Nathan must be super hot on the brakes, because like Dunlop, he didn't even look close. It would have been a real dive to try and get past him where he was.
Let's try and get you beyond the top 10 then. At the end of lap 2, coming into the pits, Dave O'Johnson was holding on to 11th, Paul Jordan in 12th, Sean Anderson 13th, Brian McCormack 14th, 15th for Philip Crowe, 16th for Spartacus Marcus Simpson, great start for him. His fellow Manxman Mikey Evans right behind him in 17th, and Mikko Sweeney in 18th, Rob Hodson 19th, Mitchell Reese holding on to a top 20 spot as well. Just outside the top 20 were Julian Trummer, Erno Costamo, Jamie Kringle, Maurizio Bottalico and Alan Ventnor. But meanwhile, the leaders are coming through the bungalow. We see Michael Dunlop sweep through the bungalow on the way up Halewood's Rise, up to Halewood's Heights, the highest point of the course, 1,385 feet. Dunlop is flying up there. There's no bright sunshine, perfect conditions to ride in, Mike.
Yeah, perfect. You know, sometimes the bright sun can just heat up the tarmac a little bit too much. You know, we want warm tyres and warm tarmac for grip, but if it's too warm, the tyres can overheat, get a little bit greasy. The cooler temperatures are better for the engines. The colder, denser air helps the engine make a little bit more power. So yeah, these are great conditions. Visibility is absolutely fine. It's not as sunny as it's been, but that's not a bad thing, because sometimes there's sections of this course, you know, where you're going through the trees, it can be, you get a bit of a strobe effect from the sun and the shadows in the trees. So yeah, I would say these are as good conditions as we're ever going to see around the TT course.
And not only that, the fatigueness for the riders out there. Like if you're out in blazing sunshine in the leathers, it does get hot, and these 1000cc bikes are absolute animals, 200 plus brake horse, and just to hold on to them and knowing that you've got to do 6 laps. So this cooler temperature that they've had through race week now, as opposed to what they had in practice week, I think it will be sort of a bit of a blessing for these guys, knowing that they're going out doing 6 laps.
Yeah, because you don't get a rest. You know, even on the straights on these bikes, you can't rest. You know, you're holding on, you're tucking your head in and your knees, and getting yourself out of the wind, squashing yourself up as much as you can. You know, so and then you go over a bump, your head bounces off the tank into the 180 mile an hour wind, and it's blowing you off the bike, so you're pulling yourself back in, engaging every muscle in your entire body. You know, your brain's focusing and concentrating more than it'll ever concentrate on anything else. So it really is a full workout, and you'll see when these guys take the helmets off at the end of this race, they'll be whilst it's not as hot as it has been all week, they'll be sweaty, stinky messes, won't they?
We're not even at half race distance, but here comes Dean Harrison onto Glen Crutchy Road to reach that point. Lap 3 about to be completed. There he goes. Oh, off he goes, absolute bullet over the top of Glencrutchy Road and down the hill. Lap 3, of course, will include the pit stop, but it's 127.265 for Dean Harrison as he heads over the top. In terms of the race, there's only the 3 riders through. Cronknamona, John McGuinness is still running second on the road. We'll have him with us shortly, and then Michael Dunlop, but it's Peter Hickman we're going to have to wait for to get an idea of this top 3 battle. As we follow Hickman, I think it may be on the run down through Bedstead, but we're looking for John McGuinness to come through next to complete half distance. Only half distance. He comes out of the dip onto Glencrutchy Road on that Paul Bird Motorsport replica looking bike, and the levers and the helmet, the whole piece has been done together on the green plate. There he goes. 125.231 for John McGuinness on that lap, including the pit stop. Next up, Michael Dunlop, about to flash past you here in front of the grandstand. Here he comes. 126.515 for Dunlop, including the pit stop. So those 3 are out. We're waiting on Peter Hickman to arrive at Cronknamona to get the latest update on the times in this battle for second place between Dunlop and Hickman's taking it. Hickman arrives. He's now 2.1 seconds ahead of Dunlop at Cronknamona on lap 3. So Hickman back into second. They're having a fantastic scrap, these two. The guys on the boards will have to be working hard to relay them all the information.
Yeah, we were talking about just before how Hickman's strongest point was always over the mountain, and he seems to have found that old Hickey's self over the mountain there, and he's managed to pull out a couple of seconds over Michael Dunlop as we come here now, and he's got a 2.4 second lead over the grandstand for that second place. So the good old Peter Hickman's back, it would seem, over the mountain there.
Yeah, and it's a really good area of the circuit to be strong in, because it's a big section of the circuit and it's near the end of the lap. So what that means is, you know, if there is a you know, we're on a close race on the last lap, if you can be quick over that section, it might just be the difference between, you know, being in front of your competitor over the line and not.
I think it's actually Peter Hickman that's actually overhauled Dean Harrison a little bit, because the lead up to the bungalow was over 30 seconds. It was a touch over 30 seconds. It's just dropped down to 28.2 seconds. So Peter Hickman's had a real push on over the mountain, and not only taking time out of Michael Dunlop, but Dean Harrison also.
And that might be because I think he's just overhauled Josh Brooks on the road. So start position of 10 has caught and passed Josh Brooks in start position of 7, and Josh Brooks is running 4th in the race. So fair pace there. Nathan Harrison then behind them on the road. He's completed lap 3, and behind that Jamie Coward is through here as well. To complete his lap 3, but Harrison really pushing out through Harolds and Gorsley as we see him over the jump on the run down into Ballacrane. But yeah, just a little bit of front end movement as he came through Harolds this time around. Out there on lap 4, heading for the second and final pit stop. He takes the right hand turn at Ballacrane, heads off up to Ballaspur, our leader on the road. If you're out on the run up through Handleys or the Black Dub, you're about to get Michael Dunlop coming into view.
Yeah, we've just seen somebody there holding a pit board out coming out of Ballacrane saying P1 plus 29. So Dean Harrison completely aware that he's got a pretty unsurmountable lead if he just keeps this pace going now for the next couple of laps.
Yeah, this is Dean's race to lose, isn't it? But that'll probably only be adding to the anxiety of his pit crew, won't it? You know, they'll need to make sure everything goes right when he comes into the pits at the end of this lap. Again, it'll be another tyre, it'll be another tank of fuel going in, another visor probably. I'm pleased to report, by the way, that Michael Dunlop's visor looks to be attached sufficiently this time. Obviously, we had an incident the year before last, I think it was, with Michael Dunlop's visor. So yeah, I did see him in the pit stop actually. Once they put his visor in, he lifted his visor up, clicked the pods on that RI helmet and clicked the visor down just to double check it was on securely. So yeah, no repeat performance of that this year.
Harrison's through Sarah's Cottage. Michael Dunlop is just going through Ballaspur and on the run down to Bullock Bridge. That's where they are on the road. Meantime, Peter Hickman has just come through Greber Bridge and is making his way out past the Hawthorne and then down into the right-handers, the really fast right-handers at Harolds and Gorfleet. Hickman flying on the BMW Motorrad machine on the run out. He's got Josh Brooks, as we say, he's right behind him. Well, about 2-3 seconds behind him. He's maybe dropped Josh by now. If Josh can try and get on that Hickman pace, that will probably secure a top 4 place. And then if anything happens ahead of them in these final pit stops or over the last couple of laps, as we saw in 2024, it's still very much in the mix at this stage.
Yeah, a 4th place. You know, if you can sit in 4th place in a 6-lap TT, it's you're not a lot. It's a bit of a gap time-wise to the podium, but as you say, anything can happen to these guys at the front. A small error in the pit stop could put Josh Brooks on the podium. It'd be great to see Josh on the podium, because I don't feel like we've really seen what he's obviously one of the best short circuit riders going, and I don't think we've quite seen what he's capable of on the Isle of Man TT yet. I know we've seen him on the podium, but I think there's more to come from Brooksy.
The 4th place not secure for him yet, because John McGuinness still only 7.5 seconds behind him. So John McGuinness having a real good 4 laps so far here at the Isle of Man TT on this opening Superbike race.
There we go, we're seeing more and more riders. Hickman now arrives at Glen Helen, so we can get an update, and Hickman continues to hold on to that 2nd place, but it's only by 0.7 of a second. So Dunlop is the man who's coming towards Hickman. 0.7 of a second between Hickman and Dunlop for that 2nd place. Harrison leads back over that 30-second mark that he had over the mountain on lap 3. Glen Helen on lap 4, it's 30.3 seconds Harrison leads Hickman by. Then Dunlop is just those 0.7 of a second down on Hickman. Josh Brooks is then 34.1 seconds down on Dunlop. John McGuinness holding on to that 7 seconds down on Brooks, as he has been for most of the last lap since they, certainly most of the last lap as they came out of the pit stops on lap 2. Jamie Coward then in 6th. We await Ian Hutchinson to arrive. Nathan Harrison is also through Glen Helen on lap 4.
We rarely see anything but 100% effort from Michael Dunlop, do we? He's one of the hardest charging, hardest trying riders at the TT, but I've got a feeling today he'll be finding 150% effort, because when the gap is like I say, halfway through a 6-lap race and you're less than a second difference between Peter Hickman, he'll be doing everything he possibly can to just push that Fireblade as close to the limits as he possibly can.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a carrot in front of him now as he's catching John McGuinness on the road, as they're both in view there through Kurt Michael. As John McGuinness goes out of Kurt Michael, Michael Dunlop comes into view at Kurt Michael, so he'll have a bit of a carrot there in front of him dangling, and he'll try and chase John down as quick as he can, and sort of drag him along just that little bit more.
A little bit further down the leaderboard at the end of lap 3, Ian Hutchinson was 7th, Mike Brown in 8th, Nathan Harrison 9th, Connor Cummins still holding on to that top 10 position, then Paul Jordan in 11th, Brian McCormack in 12th, Mikey Evans in 13th, Rob Hodson showing 14th, Marcus Simpson top 15 for him. Then Mitch Reese has now worked his way up into 16th, Philip Crowe 17th, Sean Anderson in 18th, 19th for Michael Sweeney, and Erno Costomo in 20th, with Alan Ventnor just outside of that. Peter Hickman, the latest person to come through Kurt Michael, as Nathan Harrison just arrives into Kurt Michael at Douglas Road Corner. And we look for Jamie Coward next. We see Coward has then got Nathan Harrison behind him as they come screaming through the village out there in Kurt Michael. We're at the last bridge for the top 3 on the road. We're going to wait for Peter Hickman to arrive to get the leaderboard updates. We see Connor Cummins. Given that he switched off the Superbike onto the Superstock, a top 10 is a really good ride for Connor here.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and as Pat said earlier, there was perhaps a bit of an issue for Connor on the first lap. Not sure what happened there, but he was a lot lower down the order, but he's just chipping away and moving his way up. Yes, I think. Listen, we all want to see Connor Cummins on the podium, don't we? But if we can see him in the top 10 or a top 6, I think that'll be a good result for the Manxman.
Yeah, the two Manxmen there holding 9th and 10th steady. Nathan Harrison in 9th and Connor Cummins in 10th. So the two Manxmen there just inside the top 10.
Dean Harrison then at Ballaugh on this lap. Of course, this lap again, he's going to be coming into the pits at the end of lap 4. It's 7 minutes 10 out to Ballaugh. The lap record from Dunlop in 24 is a 7 minutes 08, so he's a couple of seconds outside of lap record pace, and he will be slowing down to come into the pits. John McGuinness is now being reeled in Michael Dunlop is, 3 seconds behind maybe as they go through Sulby Bridge and on up towards the Ginger Hall as we continue to await for Ian Hutchinson. He's through Glen Helen, still holding on to that 7th place. He's probably the one in terms of the top 6 battle that is furthest back on the start order. He started at position 12 on the Team RST BMW as our race leader arrives into Ramsey.
Just looking at the speed trap times there as well. Michael Dunlop consistently quickest by a couple of mile an hour over everybody else. Just shy of 200 mile an hour, 199.8 mile an hour that he's doing. He seems to have a couple of mile an hour over the rest of the field there. But it's sort of not related into that battle with Peter Hickman. He's got a couple of mile an hour over him as well. So
yeah, they're frightening speeds, aren't they? 200 miles an hour on 2 wheels down on what is a public road. But it looks like Michael Dunlop is going to catch John McGuinness just as he approach Parliament Square into Ramsey, which is, as we said before, quite a good place to catch him.
Well, he'll want to because he's in this huge battle with Peter Hickman at Ballaugh Bridge. It stayed at that 3/4 of a second. Hickman continues to hold second over Dunlop by 3/4 of a second. Dunlop cannot afford to lose any time behind John.
Yeah, well, John McGuinness has pulled half a second again on Josh Brooks, down to 7.2 seconds on that battle for 4th and 5th between Josh Brooks and John McGuinness. So he's chipping away, is John, and sort of reeling him in. And you'd think that the further this race would go on, that Josh would have a bit of an advantage, but it doesn't seem to be working out that way.
No, you're right, and as it happens, Michael Dunlop hasn't quite caught John McGuinness by the time they get to Ramsey.
Oh, John struggling to get the braking done into Parliament Square, runs wide there. That will allow Dunlop to close up further as they head out onto Albert Terrace, up Albert Terrace, past the bus station, into the bottom of Mayhill and Crookshanks. Dunlop has closed. He's still possibly 1.5, 2 seconds behind as they head up into Whitegates next. We'll get them up into the hairpin as we see Peter Hickman next fly over Milltown Bridge down at Gardeners Lane. He's heading up towards Schoolhouse as well. So Dunlop there, that was just a little bit late on the brakes for McGuinness, wasn't it, into Parliament Square?
Yeah, I don't think you can really say that he's not out there trying, can you? He had a bit of a doctor's dangle going on as he was coming on the brakes into Parliament Square and just ran in a little bit wide and sort of compromised him on the left coming out, and it probably let Michael catch up a little bit more than what it would have been up to Ramsey hairpin.
Here's the replay.
Yeah, we've heard.
The rear wheel's in the air. The rear wheel was off the ground.
It's off the ground. He's snaking around. His boots on the floor. You know, we've spoken to John McGuinness this week, and he tells us he's enjoying riding. He's going to go out there, enjoy it, and do his best. He's trying, isn't he? He's not just going. He's not out there just to have a Sunday ride, is he? He's out there to try and go as fast as he possibly can, and we can see that by slight little errors like that.
Yeah, I think he'll be going around and thinking that a top 5 would be a fantastic result, but I think he'll be getting his pit board saying it's hovering around 7 seconds.
Dunlop has reclaimed second place at Ramsey hairpin. Dunlop reclaims second place from Peter Hickman by 1/10 of a second. That's how close it is, and we know that Dunlop is still behind John McGuinness on the road. This is going to become absolutely crucial. Harrison leads at Ramsey hairpin by 33.6 seconds, but there's just 1/10 of a second between Dunlop and Hickman as Dunlop reclaims second place. Josh Brooks continues to hold 41.4 seconds down on Hickman. Then John McGuinness, who's riding his own race constantly, that's 7 seconds behind Josh Brooks, and he might now, if he lets Dunlop pass, get a bit of a tow.
Yeah, if he can get a tow over the mountain, that might just drag him a bit nearer to Brooksy in the times. Is of course Pete, the gap between Michael Dunlop and Peter Hickman being 0.1 of a second. That is not a lot, and we know that Peter Hickman is very fast over the mountain section. They're about to start that section now. Is that going to be enough for Michael Dunlop to stay in front, or will we see, like we saw on the previous lap, Peter Hickman being in front of Michael Dunlop by the time they get to the end of the mountain section, and crucially by the time they get to the grandstand?
Yeah, this gap between second and third place has not been more than 2.5 seconds through the whole of the race, and it's been yo-yoing. I think we've got another 2 laps of this.
Dunlop has passed John McGuinness on the road on the mountain mile. It looks like Dunlop has got past John McGuinness. Now it's whether or not John can stay with him to drag himself back into contention against Josh Brooks. But in terms of Dunlop, we'll get the sector time at Bungalow. Any delay is out of the way by the time we get through the Bungalow. He's caught and passed. He's running second on the road now, Michael Dunlop, behind Dean Harrison. We're just going to wait for him to get to the Bungalow to get his time, and then we'll have to wait for Peter Hickman just to see the full effect.
TT racing doesn't get much more exciting than this, does it? I almost feel sorry for Dean Harrison, who's at the front of this race. He won't see all the mayhem that's kicking off behind him, will he?
And we see them come through the Black Hut just at the end of the veranda there. Well, so after the veranda, Dunlop then runs through the right-handers, then gets it over to the left at the bungalow by the Victory Cafe. Knee well down, well away from the curb, over the railway lines for Dunlop. Sit the bike up, get down behind the tank on the run up Halewood's rise up to Halewood Heights. John McGuinness for company. It's 34.1 seconds between Harrison and Dunlop, but it's Peter Hickman we've now got to wait for at Bungalow on lap 4 of 6 in this RST Superbike TT to see the full effect of whether or not Dunlop dropped anything behind John McGuinness or whether he was able to clear him pretty quickly onto the mountain mile.
It looked, the pictures we were getting, it looked as though Michael Dunlop wasn't powering away from John McGuinness too fast. So either John's thrown out the tow ropes and stuck to Dunlop's back wheel for a few corners.
Hickman's reclaimed second. It has cost Dunlop. Hickman reclaims second again by 1/10 of a second. It goes from 1/10 of a second to Dunlop to 1/10 of a second to Hickman. So it only cost Michael a couple of tenths of a second, but that was enough to surrender second place.
Yeah, and like we say before, it doesn't matter whether you're a tenth of a second or 10 seconds when you cross the finish line. A second place is a second place, isn't it?
Yeah, these two giants of TT racing going at it hammer and tongue. Michael Dunlop and Peter Hickman. These guys have been like one of the top 3 and top 4 over the last sort of decade now, and they're still going at it. And to be a tenth of a second coming up to the end of the 4th lap of an Isle of Man TT on these superbikes is quite amazing. These guys, I think this is going to rumble to the end, I think, Chris.
To be 4 laps almost into a race here and to have them separated by 1/10 of a second, and it just been switching around right through the race. What a scrap.
Yeah, on completely different machinery as well, so the bikes will have different strengths with each other at different parts of the circuit. Not only that, with the riders having different strengths, so for them to be so close together at this stage, and Dean Harrison just eking out his lead all the time at the front.
He's on to Glen Crutchley Road, emerges out into the weakish sunshine that we've got this afternoon onto Glen Crutchley Road. The crucial second and final pit stops of this RST Superbike TT are about to unfold. Let's get you down to Chris Kinley.
Across the white lines he goes, get to the centre of the pits there now. He'll go right alongside us, and he's on the left-hand side as you look down from the grandstand. He stops the Honda, the number 3 Honda. He comes in. His first pit stop was 59.086. The quickest of the first pit stops was Peter Hickman on the number 10 machine at 54.216. But that lap for Dean Harrison there, 134.12. Chris Boyd, well, that is about right. 134.12, 1652.7.
1646.9,
well done,
134.1. Yeah.
Good lad, tell you. It's a good job you're here to keep me straight, isn't it? He's the only bike in here at the moment. Cronknamona, Michael Dunlop and John McGuinness both at Cronknamona. So the rear wheel is already sorted out, and just put check and make sure there's brake pressure in the rear there, and it is there now, and the rear stand will come out, and then Dean just will clip the visor on. He'll just take his little tear off, and he'll throw that little bit of water bottle that he's got just to the side there now. The clutch goes in, and there she goes. Pit stop by the Honda team. Good stuff. Gets a round of applause from the crowd. 59.08 as we hear the klaxon go once more. And there's Dunlop. That pit stop for Dean Harrison was 1 minute. And let's call it 1 minute flat. John McGuinness is in on the one bike right opposite me now, but Michael Dunlop is in. The gap between Michael Dunlop and Dean Harrison coming into the pit stop was 33.0, but it's Hickman at Cronknamona, Josh Brooks at Cronknamona, and I wonder if John is aware he's only about 7.5 seconds in that position on the road ahead behind of Josh Brooks, who is also now at Cronknamona, as is Jamie Coward, as is Nathan Harrison. Back at the bungalow, Hutchie's there, Mike Brown, Connor Cummins. Hear the klaxon go once more. Michael Dunlop's team working hard on that rear. The spindle's gone in. They've got a ratchet on there. They don't have the ratchet hammer. They use the old school on that with the socket on the end. But there's Hickman in. What is the gap then as they've come in? And Chris Boyd, let's get the splits.
As they've come in, it is now Dunlop back up to second place. Hickman held it at Cronknamona. Dunlop's reclaimed it into the pits by 0.6 of a second. So Dunlop over Hickman by 0.6 of a second in this huge battle for second place, Chris Kinley.
As Josh Brooks comes in, and Michael Dunlop has got ahead of John McGuinness out of the pit stop as well. So it's Harrison that leads, some Dunlop, Hickman, Brooks is in, McGuinness is in. Next rider in, there's Hickman, here's 4, here's Coward. Coward stops on the number 4 machine. We've got one more coming in. That's Nathan Harrison. He's coming in on 2. Nathan just grabbing a bit of break. Too much there now. So let's look at pit stops this time. Michael Dunlop, 56.8. John McGuinness, 56.3 compared to 56.5 as Hickey gets away. This is some battle for second place, but Dean Harrison in control of this RST Superbike race. He heads out onto lap number 5, and there's Josh Brooks, the Dow Racing Honda. The boys nice and steady on there. They find a little dribble of fuel going in. The little cap goes in, no stress. A little wipe on the top of the tank there now. So, John McGuinness at pit stop, 56.3. Hickman, 52.7. Great pit stop there. So, Michael Dunlop's pit stop, Chris Boyd, 56.8. So, let's do the maths on that. I think Hickey's going to have a couple of second lead on Hickey. Hang on a second, let's have a look. That is, Coward. Jamie Coward on 4. Nathan Harrison is still in. Only 2 machines we have in here at the moment. And there is Nathan away on the H&H Motorcycles Honda. But by my reckoning, Hickman with that pit stop will got ahead of Dunlop. Do you concur?
Totally agree. I think it'll be Harrison leading by 29.8 seconds after the pit stop. Hickman, who'd surrendered second place coming into the pits, reclaims it with a sensational pit stop. Well done to all of the BMW Motorrad team under the most extreme pressure. A 52.7 second pit stop. I think we'll put them 3.9 seconds up on Michael Dunlop's Honda. So wow, that's a real switch around there, and a superb pit stop by that BMW. Can't comprehend the pressure they must be under.
No, a massive amount of pressure. They've obviously got the wheel in the fuel tank filled up as quickly as possible, and I was watching out this commentary box window. He got that bike fired up really, really quickly, and off he went. Let's just hope he got his finger on the pit lane limiter in time.
Back down to you, Chris.
Yeah, just looking at the times there, John McGuinness is only 5 seconds coming into the pits behind Josh Brooks, with Jamie Coward just in behind him in 6th place at the moment. We got 12, Ian Hutchinson in. We got number 9, Mike Brown in. And again, looking at those pit stops time, very crucial. Couple of seconds lost here, couple of seconds lost there. As the next bike comes in, it's 11. It's Connor Cummins. He comes in now on his own Conrad machine. The red background with the white numbers there. Now he gets away. Oh, that was close with him. And Mike Brown, and here's Hutchie on the 12 bike. The RST machine riding in, of course, his main sponsor's race. So Hutchie's Jamie Coward's pit stop, 56.4. Hutchinson out of the pits at 58.5. But you can't stress how important that was for Peter Hickman just to get that little eke. And he's got nobody on the road. But Michael Dunlop does have a clear track because he got ahead, and he gave John McGuinness a bit of a stare as he went at the end of the pit lane. And now just to say, I'm ahead of you now, and hopefully he will stay ahead of him. Back up to you boys up there.
Let's give you those lap 4 times then for Dean Harrison, the race leader. It was 16 minutes 52.7, 134.12. Michael Dunlop up in the 133.8, so 16 minute 55.0. Also under the 17 minutes, 16 minutes 58.1 for Peter Hickman, 133.4. Josh Brooks then 131.4. as opposed to the 133.4 for Hickman, 131.7 for John McGuinness, who just will not go away in that top 5 position. He is having a stunning ride. 130.8 for Ian Hutchinson, 130.7 for Jamie Coward, 129.0 for Mike Brown, 129.7 for Nathan Harrison, who's having a good ride as well, and Connor Cummins, 128.4. Coming into the pits then, it was Dean Harrison by 33.0. We know they took a little bit more time in the pits, knew they could do that. We think it'll just be under 30 seconds, but he might eke that out again to over it on the run out to Glen Helen, and Dean Harrison is already through Glen Helen on lap 5. Michael Dunlop then 0.6 of a second over Peter Hickman coming in, but we know Hickman did a much quicker pit stop and has reclaimed that second place at the pits out. Josh Brooks holding on to 4th, 5.5 seconds down on McGuinness. Where was the difference between Brooks and McGuinness? Brooks did a 54 second pit stop, McGuinness did a 55, so Brooks will just have opened that advantage very, very slightly up to about back to 7 seconds probably, where it has been for much of the middle part of this race. Jamie Coward holding on to 6th, 36 seconds down on John McGuinness, then Ian Hutchinson, Nathan Harrison, Mike Brown and Connor Cummins completing the top 10. But we're looking now for Peter Hickman to arrive at Glen Helen. Dean Harrison is there, Michael Dunlop is there, John McGuinness is there. The top 3 on the road are through Glen Helen. They are all part of the top 5 in the race, but we do need Peter Hickman and Josh Brooks both to arrive there. And here is Hickman. And he has reclaimed that second place as we thought, but I think Michael Dunlop might have just eked a second or so out of him on the run out from the pit out to Glen Helen, because it's down to 2 seconds. We've still got this battle raging. Hickman holds second place by 2 seconds over Michael Dunlop.
Yeah, brilliant pit stop there by the BMW guys there in the 810 Racing. for Peter Hickman, and it's just sort of eased that little bit of pressure, because that is a titanic battle that them guys are in since the start of this race, and it's going to rumble on. I think Michael Dunlop got his work to cut out now to try and pull back that 2-second deficit that he's got to Peter Hickman at Glen Helen on lap 5 of 6.
Just shows you what a difference the pit stops make, doesn't it? When these guys are racing for for not seconds, tenths of seconds. If you can eke out a slight advantage of 2 seconds in the pit stop, it's going to make a big difference to the race result.
Yeah, we were stood here up in the commentary box looking down on the pit stop, and we saw Dean Harrison come in, and he sort of looked real cool, calm and casual coming into the pits. Didn't really look like he was in a race. So he has that advantage to be able to do that, but them guys in that battle for second and third didn't have that privilege, so they knew that the pit stops were going to make a massive difference coming into these last 2 laps.
Ian Hutchison right with Mike Brown as they head into Ballacrane. Meantime, Michael Dunlop is up through heading into Douglas Road corner.
John McGuinness, 1.3 seconds behind Josh Brooks at Glen Helen on lap number 5.
Awesome,
So
absolutely awesome.
We heard Kinners say down there that if John could stick with him, we saw he stuck with him all the way to Ballacrane, although he has eked out a little bit of a gap now, and John won't be able to see Michael Dunlop on the road now, but it has just helped him drag on a little bit and bring that gap to just over 1 second for John McGuinness.
Huge jump for Dean Harrison over Ballacrye. The front wheel was right up in the air. He is really pushing despite having this race well in hand, but we're going out onto laps 5 and 6. We're going out onto uncharted territory. We haven't been into laps 5 and 6 since the 2024 Superbike TT. There is still a long way to go as Peter Hickman comes down through Kurt Michael. Let's just check those pit stop times that have switched this second position battle around. For Peter Hickman, it was 52.7 seconds. For Michael Dunlop, it was 56.8, so he's taken 4.1 seconds out of Michael Dunlop in that second pit stop. It could well be that Peter Hickman is going to owe the 810 BMW squad a lot of beers later.
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be getting the rounds in, won't he? Because that looks to be the difference. It's the biggest gap that we've seen between them two for a couple of laps, and it is all thanks to the pit stop. So he'll be patting them boys and girls on the back when he's finished this race, and he'll owe that podium or that second place to them.
Yeah. Dunlop over Ballacrye. He gets the front wheel well in the air as well. Literally, as soon as they land, Dunlop was as flat to the tank as he could be. Every single tenth of a second, hundredth of a second, thousandth of a second even, counting here on the TT course on lap 5, as we see Ian Hutchinson right with Mike Brown as they go up through Glen Helen.
This is where fatigue starts to set in now. Lap 5 of 6, these guys are going into, like you said before, uncharted territory. Not done this race distance for a couple of years. The fatigue will be setting in. You'll sort of, when you're sat there on the bike and you stop after the adrenaline's running, your body temperature will rise and then you'll go off again, and it'll be sort of hard to keep that under control. And it's really physical part of the track now, and if you're in a close battle with somebody, you really have to dig deep and sort of bring out everything that you've got, all the experience that you've got, everything that the bike's got, to try and break out that advantage.
In terms of information, where you have your pit board is crucial here, because when you come out of the pit stops, they need to get through Glen Helen for you to get a clear idea of what effect those pit stops have had, by which time the rider's up the west coast, by which time somebody's managed to get the pit. So it may be sort of Ramsey or on before you manage to get the actual information.
Yeah, and sometimes it can, like you say, be a little bit misleading because of the way the TT's run. With it's a time trial, and we set off separately. It can be a little bit misleading. You might be in third place effectively, but actually in fourth place because the rider that's a little bit that started a little bit late hasn't got the time through yet. So it's it can be a little bit complicated, and it's not an easy job for the guys with the pit boards out there on the TT course to give the riders the correct information, the information that they need, and at the right time.
It stayed at that 2.5 seconds at the lap bridge. Hickman continues to hold on to second place, 2.5 seconds ahead of Michael Dunlop, 29.7 seconds down on Dean Harrison. Harrison has just let that lead dip below 30. It may be that he's thinking now about just getting to the finish. He knows he's got a big enough lead to do that. The battle for second goes on. News of another retirement is Eddie Fair. The French rider, he has stopped up at Bircham Avenue in Ramsey. So Eddie Fair out of this RST Superbike TT. Dean Harrison is through Ramsey hairpin. He's onto the climb of the mountain for the penultimate time. Lap 5 of 6 as Michael Russell picks up another. I think he may have had a penalty earlier. That may be a second penalty for Michael Russell. He's going to have a minute's worth of penalties across this race. That kills it.
It does. That's the end of your race, effectively. You can't give no matter where you are battling on the road, where you are in the field, you can't give away a minute in pit stops. And that's just something as simple as maybe not spending enough time trying to get your pit lane limiter, or even something as silly as like a change of gear on the rear sprocket could do that if you've not tested the gear that you've got on, like the gear ratios. That can chuck out the pit lane speed limiter, and unfortunate for Michael Russell now, a minute of penalties.
Yeah, we talked about it before the race. There is a bit of a downhill slope on the pit lane, so if you set your pit lane limiter to exactly 60 kilometres an hour, when you've got a bit of a downhill, you only need to click over by 0.1 of a mile an hour, and that's when you get a penalty. Of course, these pit lane limiters are usually set by setting the limit of a rev limit effectively in first gear. You press the button and the bike limits to a particular amount of revs per minute. If you change your gearing, like Pat said, it alters the speed that you're doing at them revs. So yeah, it sounds as though there's a bit of an issue with his pit lane limiter, doesn't it?
Hickman had a help from the team in the pits, but Hickman is doing it out on the track himself. He's put the advantage over Dunlop out from 2.5 seconds to 3.3. So he's taken 0.8 of a second out of Dunlop on the run from Ballaugh Bridge up to Ramsey hairpin. We saw Michael Dunlop have a big look behind him at the hairpin. McGuinness was only just coming up through Whitegate's into Stella Mara, so he won't have seen him at all. He'll be aware that he's got no threat coming from behind in terms of the road for Michael Dunlop. But how hard is it when you're in this kind of a battle and you get in these pit fates to think to yourself, don't be too aggressive, ride composed, do what you need to do.
Really hard, isn't it? Like he'll be trying so when it was, particularly when it's such a close race, he'll be trying so hard because he knows one tiny mistake is going to be the difference. One missed gear, one missed braking point, one missed apex can lose a few seconds, and then Dunlop will be passed. So it'll be really, really focused. But all the guys at the front, they're fully focused, the professional guys, and they'll be. I think they'll be making sure they don't make any mistakes. They'll be making sure they're riding just within the limits to ride safely and conservatively. Of course, they're on the penultimate lap now, and it's worth remembering Peter Hickman isn't fully fit. All these guys are fit and healthy lads. They're in the gyms and all the rest of it. But Pete has had a bit of a crash earlier on in the year, and his shoulder was giving him a little bit of jip, I believe, at the beginning of the week. So this bodes really well for the rest of the race, because if you can get a 6-lap Superbike race without your sort of pace dropping off, which we maybe expected it might have done, that bodes really well for the rest of the week.
And we were hearing that Hickman was having a little bit of issue just getting the Dunlop tyre to work, because most of the rest of them are on the metal fillers. Well, he's got it working today, all right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's not. He doesn't seem to be struggling with his tyre, does he? And or it has to be said, any of the rest of his bike, they're obviously pretty happy with the setup. And it's it all being well, it's going to be another podium for Peter Hickman.
Michael Dunlop then is through the bungalow. Dean Harrison is sort of 40 seconds or more up the road from that, another 40 or 50 seconds up the road. So let's just try and get the leaderboard at Ramsey. We know Harrison, Hickman, Dunlop. We're waiting for Hickman to arrive at the bungalow. In fourth place still Josh Brooks, now only 1.5 seconds ahead of John McGuinness. Come on, John. Then in sixth place Jamie Coward, 42.8 seconds down on McGuinness. Then Ian Hutchinson in seventh, Nathan Harrison eighth, and Mike Brown ninth of the 9 riders that are through Ramsey hairpin. As Hickman does arrive. Where does the time slot in? It's gone out to 5.2 seconds. Hickman is really flying compared to Dunlop. Hickman on the BMW, Dunlop on the Honda. The lead's gone out on the climb of the mountain from 3.3 seconds to 5.2 seconds for Hickman over Dunlop in this huge scrap for second place. He's 28.5 seconds down on Harrison for the race lead. Peter Hickman then So it's Harrison, Hickman, Dunlop and McGuinness. And then we're waiting for Josh Brooks to arrive. Here is Josh Brooks. How's this battle for fourth place going to fare out here? Wait for that time to slot in. That's gone out as well. Josh Brooks now leads McGuinness by 5.3 seconds at the bungalow on the penultimate lap.
Yeah, John maybe had a bit of a mistake somewhere to lose 4 seconds on the run there, unless Josh Brooks is sort of getting his pit boards and know that he's got to get a bit of a giddy on because he knows he's in a big Titanic battle there. But yeah, Michael Dunlop just dropping down to 5.2 seconds behind Peter Hickman. Peter Hickman really getting a push on now, just trying to sort of break Michael Dunlop. He's actually 5 seconds at this point faster than Dean Harrison on this lap, so Dean Harrison does have the time in his pocket, but Peter Hickman really is having a bit of a push now.
The helicopter sweeps into view. That means that Dean Harrison, our race leader, can't be far away. He's into Governor's Dip. We're about to get him out onto Glen Crutchley Road to get out and start the final lap. End of lap 5 of this RST Superbike TT. Dean Harrison, our race leader, emerges onto Glen Crutchley Road. Let's take the sound effects. Get this factory Honda across the line out onto the final 37.73 miles. Sounds absolutely fine, doesn't it? Not missing a beat in the slightest, but he will be listening for absolutely everything now, won't he?
Yeah, it's sort of getting to the stage now where you start listening to every noise, every sort of tone that the engine's doing, and you just know that you're on the last lap. You've got 37.75 miles to go before you can pick up another TT victory, and he will be listening out. He'll be feeling everything that's going through that bike, and sort of he'll be on hyper alert, just praying and hoping that nothing's actually wrong. But you are so sensitive to all these things, to every note of the engine, just praying and hoping that it can get him round this final lap.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Pat. I used to start hearing things on the last lap of a 6-lap race. Or you'd think, oh, is that how the quick shifter sounded last time I changed? Is that how the engine sounds at that RPM? 9 times out of 10, it's nothing. But your mind starts playing tricks. Of course, we talked about the fatigue. We talked about the mental fatigue. It's hard work doing this. So you're just concentrating on getting that bike round.
There goes Michael Dunlop past, and he's out onto his final lap as well. It's Peter Hickman, of course, we're going to be waiting for. We've got John McGuinness to come through next. What a ride John is having. Here he comes. He's away through onto his final lap at Crocknamona. Peter Hickman has stayed, I think that lead has stayed about the same, 6.5 seconds. And he is coming next. Peter Hickman is the next man we're going to get flashing past us on the line here, holding second place at the end of lap 5. On the 810 BMW Motorrad, it's got out to over 7 seconds. So Harrison at the end of lap 5 leads Hickman by 26 seconds. Then it's 7.5 seconds essentially between Hickman and Dunlop. And then we're waiting on Josh Brooks, who should be the next to come past us here in that 4th place, with John McGuinness just behind him in 5th. McGuinness already through.
Yeah, Dean Harrison and Michael Dunlop almost with an identical lap time on that lap number 5, but it was actually Peter Hickman that was 8 seconds faster than the pair of them, so that's managed to bring him an advantage out now to 7.48 seconds clear in second place over Michael Dunlop.
And that's going to sting, isn't it? If you're Michael Dunlop and you see your point plus P3 plus 0.5 plus 0.6 plus plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 seconds, you know that second place is just running away from you. Pete Hickman just on the superior pace on this last lap. That's gonna sting.
Let's bring you those lap 5 times, which do, of course, include the second pit stop. Dean Harrison was 17 minutes 54.4, 126.4 miles per hour. Michael Dunlop was 126.3 miles per hour, literally half a second down on Harrison. Then Peter Hickman was the fastest of them all, 17 minutes 46.8, aided by that super quick pit stop, if I can get my words out, 127.3. Josh Brooks 125.2, John McGuinness 125.0, 124.3 for Jamie Coward, and 123 for Nathan Harrison as they make their way out towards Glen Helen. Let's try to get a little bit further down the leaderboard. You wouldn't believe in a 6-lap race that the pace is so high you don't get the chance to get much further down. Nathan Harrison holding on to 7th, just outside of the top 6. Then Ian Hutchinson will still be to come, so Ian Hutchinson will slot in ahead of him. Mike Brown shows in 9th. In 10th for Paul Jordan, 11th for Connor Cummins, so Connor's just slipped outside of the top 10 now. Mikey Evans is up to 12th. Rob Hodson shows 13th. 14th for Sean Anderson, although it may be that Brian McCormick is going to do something about that. It is. Brian McCormick slots into 12th. He's at the bungalow. Of those three, Ramsey, Marcus Simpson is showing in 15th. 17th for Michael Sweeney, 18th for Philip Crow, 19th for Erno Costomo, and Mitch Reese is holding on to a top 20. Then Julian Trummer, Alan Ventnor, Jamie Kringle, Maurizio Batalico and James Chalk are the remainder of the top 25. But Harrison on the last lap makes it through Glen Helen. He must be thinking now, just keep everything running, just keep everything going. And we're heading for what I think will be a first Superbike TT victory potentially for Dean Harrison. He hasn't won one yet, I don't think, Patrick.
He's won the senior race, and then he's won 2 super stock races, and then 2 super sport races. That's his victories there. So this will be the first victory for him in this Superbike class.
He's through Glen Helen then. We're waiting next for Michael Dunlop to ride, who of course is second on the road now, and then John McGuinness, as we're picking up more riders up in Ramsey of the later order. And we're waiting to see where this battle between Hickman and Dunlop is as they come through Glen Helen. It was 7.5 seconds at the grandstand, 7.489 to be absolutely precise. So Harrison is a long way through Glen Helen. Meantime, Josh Brooks is just coming through Harold and Gorsley on the approach to Ballacrane. Josh Brooks continuing to lie fourth, and it's a really good run for Josh, isn't it?
It is a brilliant run for Josh, and he's been pushed all the way by John McGuinness. I'm sure he would have been told in the pit stops that it would have been John that was sort of edging back towards him and pushing on, but he's managed to just sort of break him a little bit now, and the longer this lap goes on, the more difficult it will be to overcome that gap for John McGuinness. But there's also a close battle between 6th and 7th between Jamie Coward on the Rapid Honda and Ian Hutchinson on the RST BMW. That's only 3 seconds, so looks like that's a battle for 6th and 7th. It's going to run down to the end as well.
And that's great for Jamie Coward to be settling in on that new Honda with the Rapid team really well right from the opening race.
Yeah, right from the opening race. He's had a bit of a turmoil in practice. He couldn't get the bike to handle. He was really struggling which direction to go, and then they only found it on the Friday night practice. He was struggling to even string 2 laps together, just with the physicality of the thing, with it not handling. And it was only on the Friday night practice where it all seemed to sort of come together. So it was in a real bad place coming into the race, but he's shown that he's pulled it back, and to be holding 6th, I think that's a great result for Jamie and the whole Rapid Honda team.
Glen Helen then on lap 6. Dean Harrison continues to lead now, 25.8 seconds. So I think Harrison is just backing it off very, very slightly. But in this battle for second, Hickman has taken another 1/10 of a second or so over Dunlop. 7.6 seconds now. Hickman leads Dunlop by in the battle for second. Josh Brooks continues to hold 4th now, 59.1 seconds down on Dunlop, but 8 seconds ahead of John McGuinness.
It just looks like he's been able to hold John McGuinness off, doesn't he, Josh Brooks? And you know, it's an impressive showing off John McGuinness. You know, he's an older guy. This is hard work racing around here. But you have to remember he's been racing bikes for years and years, decades, and the way he races bikes, it's great. You know, if you watch John McGuinness on a bike, he doesn't jump around the bikes too much. He doesn't get sort of too animated on it. He's actually got quite an economic style on the bike.
The old school style.
It's the old school style. Easy for me to say. So he can do these long races without getting too fatigued. Some of the other guys, they're a lot more energetic on the bike, and they do wear themselves out a little bit quicker. But John can just keep going, and it's great to see.
Dino then is out over Ballacry jump for Dean Harrison. He's up through Balaf and away into the run up towards Quarry Bend. Looking at the sector, lap 6, listen to how close this is. Lap 6, grandstand to Glen Helen. Dean Harrison 4 minutes 10.4. Michael Dunlop 4 minutes 10.3. Peter Hickman 4 minutes 10.2.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't have a short circuit lap that's got 4 minutes to do one lap and the guys be within 1/10 of a second. These aren't even on the same part of the track. These guys are all running on different parts of the track, so to be so close matched in times, it's just like it shows how hard they're pushing and how closely matched they all are. It's quite phenomenal, really, I think.
Yeah. A 6-lap race round here is what 200 miles or something, isn't it? And to be within a few seconds of each other, it just shows the competitiveness of the TT these days, doesn't it?
Dunlop flies, Ballacry jump. Gets straight down again, under the tank once again, into the right-hander by the Wildlife Park, then the left, right, left, up through Quarry Bends that will bring him out into Sulby. See him through the Wildlife Park there next, then out to the right-hand side of the road to cut back into the left-hander by the lay-by up at Quarry Bends that takes him into the start of that section. As we see Jamie Coward coming through Kurt Michael, and he's looking really racy still, isn't he?
He is, yeah, and he needs to be, because Ian Hutchinson's pulled that gap down to less than a second in 7th place, so to be battling on the 5th lap, just 9/10 of a second between 6th and 7th. So that is the closest battle I think that we've got on the road at the minute. So them guys are going at it, and we'll see who's going to come out on top in just over half a lap.
It's all going to be down to who's got the pace over the mountain, I think, isn't it? Because with less than a second between them, it's going to be a drag over the mountain.
Great to see John McGuinness getting massive applause from the marshals as he makes his way out. A 6-lap race at 54-year-old to be able to do that as Michael Dunlop tops 200 miles an hour down Sulby. 200.2 miles an hour has been the fastest for Michael Dunlop down Sulby. Then Josh Brooks 197.5 at Ballaugh Bridge. Hickman had extended the advantage over Dunlop in the battle for second place to just over 7. In fact, no, it's come back a little bit. 7.6 seconds, pretty much stayed where it was. Dean Harrison getting the applause into Ramsey. I'm sure John McGuinness is going to get massive applause all the way around their last lap. To do 6 laps at 54-year-olds. Everyone talks about John and his fitness, but he must have put some work in to be able to manhandle that Honda around.
Yeah, you can see just by looking at me at John in Parc Ferme. He might be an old boy, but he's as fit as he's been in a long time, and we've said before he's got a very economic riding style. He sits on the bike, he lets the bike do the work, and I think that's one of the reasons why he can go so fast for 6 laps at a time.
But he has had such a good year as well, even on the short circuits, going faster than he's ever gone before. Even at 54-year-old, he's going faster than he was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So he's still got it, and he's still pushing hard, and it's paying off now. And although he is dropping off Josh Brooks, the gap's just eked out to 9.5 seconds behind Josh. Although that is, I think he'll be more than happy with the result that is sort of coming his way.
Michael Dunlop then into Parliament Square. All these guys getting applause as they come through. Dean Harrison got massive cheers as he went up through Stella Barras into Ramsey, hairpinning away onto the mountain. He took a little bit of a look behind. There's no need to take a look behind. He's got 12 miles to ride to glory in the RST Superbike TT from Ramsey back to Douglas as we pick up Michael Dunlop out through White Gates. He's not giving this up, I don't think. The body language shows that he's pushing.
He'll push to the very end. We know Michael, we've seen it before. He's never going to give anything up. And as we know, this is the Isle of Man TT. Even at the 11th hour, anything can happen. Like we heard Peter speaking before, that they've had to lean the bike off because they weren't sure if they was going to make it with the fuel. So absolutely anything can happen. And these seconds crucial that he's never, ever going to give up.
Michael is through onto the climb of the mountain. John McGuinness comes up through Stella Maris. The crowd are absolutely cheering. It is fantastic to see the green-plated bike in the Paul Bird Motorsport replica of John McGuinness. It is the factory Honda, the sister bike to Dean Harrison. But fantastic to see the reception that he is getting from the crowd. Up through, we wait for Peter Hickman to arrive. Hickman has pushed on. He's at Ramsey hairpin now, and he's 9 seconds up on Michael Dunlop. So he's probably got this done. He's got 3/4 of a second per mile from here back to the grandstand in hand, as we see Josh Brooks there just lifts the front wheel as he goes up through Albert Terrace into the bottom of Mayhill and Crookshanks. Up he goes. Who's getting the cheers as well? Out through White Gates. Josh Brooks continuing to hold on to that 4th place. Now 11 seconds up on John McGuinness, but 5th place for John McGuinness. 6th place, Ian Hutchinson has claimed that 6th place by 1/10 of a second at Ballaugh. Hutchinson's up into a top 6 position over Jamie Cow, but there's only a 1/10 of a second between them at Ballaugh.
Yeah, such a mature ride from Dean Harrison. This, he spoke at the head of the show though before the head off down Glencrutchery Road on the first lap. I was going to try and get off hot and try and get a bit of a gap and then just control it, and he's sort of mastered that. He's such a mature rider. He'd had 2 perfect pit stops. The gap went out to I think 32 seconds at one point, and now he's just sort of rolling off, and he won't be pushing quite as hard. He knows that he's got time in the bank to just sort of get back home now on the last run over the mountain in this lap before he picks up another victory here at the Isle of Man.
Yeah, 3/4 of the way around the lap 6 of a 6-lap race. You can't afford to just just take it that little bit easier and get the bike home safely. That's all he'll be thinking now. He'll want this first Superbike win. His team will be just willing him round and hoping that he can just get that bike round and sit it on the podium. Top of the podium, I should say.
We see Dean Harrison going up Halewood's Heights, up to Halewood Rise at the Brandywell Junction. Get it tipped over for the left-hander at Brandywell. You've had such speed coming up over from the bungalow and then up the hill as we next picked up John McGuinness making his way to the end of the mountain mile. Michael Dunlop is in between them on the road, but Harrison now is on that final run over the mountain. Peter Hickman is at the East Mountain Gate making his way across the top to Casey's, then dropped down into the Black Hut and onto the veranda. So Dean Harrison then, he has 24 seconds. He has backed it off on this last lap. He's done the sensible thing. 24.5 seconds ahead of Hickman at Ramsey, who then has these 9 seconds over Michael Dunlop. We're waiting for Hutchinson. Hutchinson has now arrived at Ramsey Hairpin in the battle for 6th place with Jamie Coward. Hutchinson is 7/10 of a second ahead of Jamie Coward as Michael Dunlop makes his way out through the bungalow. He's the next rider through, second on the road. We've just got to wait for Hickman to arrive to get the latest update on that battle in second. It's probably too late now for Dunlop to do anything about it, but they have still got to get the bikes back through the end of 6 laps of torture for the machines on this mountain course.
Yeah, and we talked about fuel, didn't we, and making sure the bikes have got enough fuel to get round the 2 laps at a time. And if we saw how fast Peter Hickman's pit stop was, let's hope that wasn't because they lifted the fuel nozzle out a little bit quick, because if that tank isn't absolutely brimmed to the very top, he's not going to make it around 2 laps.
Harrison is on the run down from Craignabar down towards Gobnagay, the right-hander, and then down into Brandish. He's got 2 later starters right ahead of him on the road. He's going to try and take one, is he? No, he's going to back out of that. He's got the time to do it. Doesn't need to try and push past them going through Brandish. Might try and get one on the run down towards Hilbury. So he's gone through the left-hander at Brandish. He does overhaul one of the 2 of these later starters. He's going to go with the second one. Oh, wow. Under braking. Well, maybe he didn't brake so much on the run into Hilbury, so he's cleared all the traffic now. Up into Crocknamoda next. The 4 left-handers goes through the first of them at the junction. Then the second of them that takes them towards Signpost Corner. And the third sweeps through the final part. Drops over the little crest that makes Signpost Corner just blind until you're right on top of it. He's through the right-hander at Signpost Corner on the curbs on the outside. Down into the left-hander through Bedstead. Will sweep out towards the pavement on the exit of Bedstead, but Lee, he was fairly close in fairness to the pavement there, comes back over to the left to get into the right-hander down into the Nook where the road really narrows. The public traffic do not use the section of road down from the Nook. He emerges out into our vision once again at Governor's Bridge and just drops down into the dip. We'll have him come out of the dip onto Glen Crutchy Road. It's going to be a fantastic victory here for Dean Harrison. He's about to cross the line to become a 6-time TT winner. He's already celebrating on Glen Crutchy Road. Here he comes. A first Superbike victory for him as the 2 that he'd overtaken, they head out onto their final lap. We'll look for the updates as we get further back. Peter Hickman and Michael Dunlop arrives at Crocknamoda. Peter Hickman is still behind him on the road. We'll wait for him to arrive. Dean Harrison has stopped to take the applause just at the top of the return road. That is almost traditional. The crowd down there giving him a massive cheer. Dean Harrison, 6 times a TT winner.
Yeah, we can see there at the end of the start of the return road there just how much it means to him as he does a massive wheelie for the crowd in the grandstand there. You can see he had his head in his hands.
Happening. Yeah,
it's a hard, long race, and you can see with the emotion there at the end how much it actually means to these riders.
We're waiting then for the next rider. In fact, here is Michael Dunlop. He'll be coming past us very shortly. It's going to be a podium. There he is on the MD Racing, the Hawk Honda. It's going to be 3rd place for Michael Dunlop, probably because we're waiting on Peter Hickman to arrive, who has 12.6 seconds in hand over him at Crocknamoda. So Harrison from Hickman, from Dunlop. We just wait for Hickman to arrive, and then we will get you straight down to Chris Kinley. In fact, I think we might go down to Chris because Dean Harrison's arriving. We'll come back with Peter Hickman, Chris.
He is in, he does a little roll and stopy just to get in there, and a 6-time TT winner. And he points his 2 fingers to the sky there and points up to there. The Honda team, Graham and the guys are straight in there. Hickman confirmed in that 2nd place. Michael Dunlop is in, will be in here any moment now. But Dean Harrison, a 6-time TT winner. He's won the Supersport, he's won the Superstock, he's won the Senior, he's won everything. And now he has won everything. He has won the RST Superbike TT race by 15.5 seconds in the end from number 10 Peter Hickman, with Michael Dunlop 12.4 back of him in 3rd position. And we'll get straight in and have a little chat with him, just see if he's happy about the race. And his mother's in there too. I'm sure Conrad won't be too far away. Sorry, Sammy, just squeezing through there and see the kids first. See John Hogan from the Honda team, and Dino, a 6-time TT winner as well. You had that one. I'll let you take your gloves off and your stuff off, because we need to see that face. We need to see that smile. And we need to see that. There we are. Look at that smile, folks.
I know. All right, thank you very much. Well done, mate.
Michael Dunlop straight into to congratulate him.
No, I've had good pace all week, and I wasn't sure if anyone were going to pull out of the bag, so I just went out of the box quite fast. Mate.
7-second lead at Glen Ellen.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I got stuck in from the start. To be honest, I did have a bit more in the tank. To be honest, I feel like I can go a bit better. I got a good lead and just sort of controlled it from there, really. And I just kept. I had really good pit board, so I need to say a massive thanks to everybody today that did my pit board, because honestly they were absolutely brilliant. I read the boards the whole way around the course and just sort of knew where I was at all times and things like that. But now I feel good for 6 laps. I feel quite fresh still, to be honest.
Only a couple of beads of sweat up there.
Yes, yeah, I feel okay. So massive thanks to everyone on the Honda team. The bike never missed a beat the whole race. I need to say it was a bit of a gamble, because I asked them to build this bike for me, and they sort of looked at me and they've gone away and built it, and we've won the Superbike race, so it's quite good. And massive thanks again to all the marshals. Without them, we wouldn't be able to race around the greatest course in the world. And all the fans, honestly, everyone were waving me on the whole race, to be honest, and over the fence and things like that. So big thanks to everyone that were putting their arm over and giving me the thumb. So it means the absolute world to me.
Your teammate John McGuinness not doing too bad, around about 5th or 6th at the moment.
No, John's rode well all week, absolutely amazing. It's such a team effort at Honda. We all try our best and put 110% in, so it's what makes results like this possible.
RST Superbike winner, though, after a couple of podium places. This must ice in the cake for you.
Yeah, honestly, absolutely over the moon with that, so I don't know what to say, to be honest. That last lap then were a really long last lap. I made a couple of silly mistakes. I sort of slowed up a little bit, and I would sort of try to knock a little bit of RPM out of the bike and roll the throttle in places to try and save it a little bit. So, no, absolutely over the moon.
Well done, Dean. Congratulations from all of us.
Thank you very much.
Well done, mate. Well done. Thanks, Dino. Cheers. I think Peter Hickman has gone down, and in fact, no, Michael Dunlop is going to be going to do television first. We'll just let them do the shot that I'll just stay out of, which is good. Hopefully, I will be able to get out of the way of that shot. And hello. Pete, just to jump in and grab a quick word. Sorry to butt in a private conversation. I don't want to be of all that lot. Welcome back in here.
Yeah. 2 years, isn't it? Yeah, obviously missed last year, but yeah, I'm just so thankful for BMW, 810 Racing, Monster, all the boys and girls in the team. It's takes a lot, doesn't it?
And your pit stop, your second pit stop, everybody else doing 56, 57, your team did a 52.
Yeah, mate.
Got you a second.
Good. I think I need it, mate. Well done. Well done. You deserve that. Well done. Boys done a great job. We've had a lot of criticism in a lot of years of being slow, whether it's me or whether it's the boys, I don't know, but obviously somebody pulled the finger out, I don't know who.
You did, because you were catching Michael Dunlop up, then you got ahead of him, he got ahead of you, then it went to 0.7, then went to 0.9, then you went back in front. It was to and fro and all the way, but that pit stop by your team, that has got you this second place, I would say. And then the last 2 laps you pinned it.
Yeah, do you know what? It took me till lap 4 to chill properly, if that makes sense. It's a really weird thing to say. We're racing, pounding around here at 200 odd mile an hour and we're chilled, you know. But it was not until I got like halfway through lap 4 that I actually didn't calm myself, but just felt at one a bit more with the bike. I'm still not how I should be yet. I'm not hitting all my markers how I want to hit. I don't feel quite myself, but on lap 4 onwards, I started to feel more like me. And a little bit each time I ride all this week, I get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better.
Well done, Pete.
Thanks, mate.
Well done to Peter Hickman there. We'll get into Michael Dunlop if we can. Just squeeze past this young lady here and grab a quick chat with Michael. He's already done the TV Just still talking to the boys just a second. And sorry, Michael, just to jump in live on Radio TT. Talk us through your race.
Quite surprised to be where we are, to be honest with you. I didn't think we had the pace all week. It's been a struggle, and it was sort of knife to a gunfight, really. Dean's been riding extremely hard, and I was surprised to be there, to be honest with you.
What about the pace that the boys are running up there? You've added a couple of mile an hour, and again, your team pit stops are brilliant. They caught you and Pete, but Pete on that second pit stop, that's where he got ahead of you.
Yeah, and we just got caught a little bit catching the riders in front, and it's just hard. It's frustrating, especially when you're catching them knowing, and it's hard. Obviously, they have to put people on the road, so especially when you're in a bit of a dice, you're looking a bit of a. But I lost a bit of time, and to be honest with you, I didn't deserve to be really on the podium anyway. We don't have any pace really, and it's frustrating when you know what you're capable of, and the performance that I'm putting on is nowhere near that. So which is a bit of a pity, but sometimes you have to take it the chin.
What are you going to do for the next Superbike race, the senior TT? Any changes?
Look, we're just the issues we're having seems to be occurring all week, and we know where it's coming from, and don't seem to be anything to do about it. But look, we just keep battering on. Dean's got extreme pace. He's come here with the same bike last 3 years, whatever, and he's fast. My own fault for the situation we're in, and I won't be caught like that again.
I know you won't, Michael. Well done. Congratulations. Hey, give us a smile.
I don't know. It's a fake one.
It's all right. It's in the eyes. Thank you, Michael. There you go. There's your top three and the RST Superbikes. Back to you.
Well, I'm standing here next to the top 5 man here, John McGuinness. Do you know what, John? 30 years ago was probably the last time you could go around the Isle of Man and not really be recognised. Did you know just what a reception you were getting around there today?
Yeah, unbelievable, really. It's just so nice. I don't think I've ever seen as many people on the track as that. And I sort of wanted to just sort of take me on off and have a wave at you guys who were cheering me around, but I really, really do appreciate it. If you're listening out there, yeah, it's amazing to get that support after all these years. I didn't know where I was going to end up. I just wanted to do the 30-year sort of outfit a bit of justice, but I sort of where I am really. I'm sort of best of the rest at the minute, or in that group after the top guys. But like Dean passed me, I was like, "Well, Dean." So, he's my teammate. We've been working hard on getting Dean to where he is now, and the belief he can do it. And it's good for the team, good for everybody. Amazing 6 laps, beautiful, good conditions out there. No sun and stuff, so bloody hard though.
You had a little bit of a fun time going through Parliament Square at one point, I think, a bit late on the braking.
Yeah, I just left it a little bit late, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to stop here." So instead of just laying it on his side, I just went past. I just went past the apex. Good, typical you to catch that. I don't try to make many mistakes around here, but yeah, a little mistake there. But you can't do 226 miles without a few little mistakes. But yeah, I mean, that's just an honest result for us all. We're absolutely over the moon. We have a side of the garage, other side of the garage. Dean did win, did he?
He did, yeah, he really did.
Well, yeah, the Honda's first, and I think, Dunlop was second, was it, on Honda, and
Hickman second.
Brooks was fourth, So yeah, I mean, we're right there, aren't we? So yeah, my job's sort of done now.
Honestly, though, just brilliant to see you out there. I mean, everybody clapping when you came into the pits. The machine looked fantastic, performed fantastically as well.
Yeah, I couldn't hear most of that. I'm a bit deaf because stupidly I'm old school and I don't wear earplugs, so my ears are absolutely ringing now. All the other guys are like, "What are you doing?" But yeah, I mean, yeah, I got a little bit emotional on the start. I'm not going to lie. Looking at that bike, it took me back all those years for a morning practice 30 years ago in the mist and cold and sun and damp and leaves on the trees, and when that's how it used to be. So it just whizzed me back to that time. So and it's a shame Birdie's not here. He made it. I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for Birdie. But the kids were here, the 2 twins, which is important. But yeah, all the people that have been behind me, I just thank them. They still allow me at 54 to go out and ride probably one of the best bikes on the grid with #1 plate on, and I really do appreciate that. And hope we did it a bit of justice. And thanks for the support out there. It's amazing. And let's look forward to the rest of the week.
You're absolutely brilliant, John. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Amazing to hear from John McGuinness there, who completes in 5th place. It was Dean Harrison's victory in the end. He did back it right off, 15.5 seconds he has taken victory by. He's finished outside of the race record by about 12.8 seconds. That race record stands to Peter Hickman from 2024. Let's get straight back down to Beth.
Well, I'm just standing here next to Ian Hutchinson. Ian, talk us through your race. How was that?
Yeah, it was good really. Nice to get a race under my belt with my own team and my own bike I've built. But had a big wheel spin off the line, which spooked me a little bit because I thought, well, I seen Chris check the tyre was warm, but when you get a big wheel spin, I thought maybe the tyre's cold. So the first couple of corners I was a bit panicky, but anyway, we got away, and then I just built myself into had some laps I felt good, some laps I didn't, and then the last lap I knew I was in chance with A6. So I thought I need to just put everything together here and just ride. I had to ride a little bit different. How I need a bit of setup change doing, to be fair, but the way I had to ride for the last lap was not how I want to be riding a bike, but we did 132, so I think we can improve from there.
I tell you what, though, it just shows just how important that mental side of racing is as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a bit of a spook when you do a massive wheel spin off the line.
What's your message to the people out there supporting you?
Oh, it's been amazing. Like, I know what it's like when you're out there winning, but there's a lot of people cheering me on that last lap. So yeah, thanks very much.
Do you have any pit boards out there?
Yeah, I had 4 actually. So yeah, one of them's the wrong way around. So the plus is what they're classing as minus, and the minus is plus. So I got well confused. But I worked it out at the end. But even then, I was like, had to be a mathematician to work out what was going on every time I come across that one. So anyway,
sort that out for next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Ian Hutchinson, thank you.
Cheers.
Brilliant result for Ian Hutchinson on a team that he only started putting together in January, the team RST. In the RST Superbike TT, it is a top 6. We mentioned it was Harrison from Hickman by 15.5 seconds. Then Michael Dunlop has finished 12.4 seconds down on Peter Hickman in 3rd. Josh Brooks does complete in 4th. Good start for him, 56.7 seconds down on Dunlop, but that 4th place is superb, and he's with Beth.
Certainly is. Talk us through the highs and lows of that one then, Josh.
It was all highs for me from the start. You know, it's hard to kind of get focus on what you need to do. You know, everyone knows you just get out of bed and then go and jump on a bike and head down Bray Hill. So it's quite a challenge in itself. But I got round to the first pit stop, and I felt like I was just sort of building, and then we got a good pit stop. The guys worked really well, and we got away and made a couple of seconds, I think, on John. So yeah, just sort of got my head down and tried to ride smoother, not harder, you know, and just try to roll the throttle and not be too aggressive. And after the second fuel stop, I thought, well, I've just got to, you know, try something a bit harder. You know, don't just roll around the lap. You know, try and get stuck in. And there was a couple of corners where I kind of got punished for trying. So it's a real delicate balance. You know, you try and ride smooth and that sort of builds speed, but then as soon as you try and go a bit faster, you often get punished and end up like in a weird position on the track, and it's quite nerve-wracking. So yeah, I'm pleased to get 4th, and you know, just pleased for all the team, how well they've worked, how the bike worked well, and we've made big improvements with the Superbike since practice.
How do you switch back into normal mode now after you've been in that race?
Well, anything after that is pretty normal, so yeah, it's pretty easy.
Josh, thanks so much.
No, you're welcome. And hey, and thanks to all the crowd that were waving all the way around. I guess you wave everybody around on the last lap, but all the same, it felt good to see everybody out there.
Brilliant. Thank you, Josh.
Brilliant stuff to hear from Josh. He's finished in 4th place, and he's finished 19.5 seconds ahead of John McGuinness in 5th, with Ian Hutchinson rounding out that top 6, as we've heard, by just 1.2 seconds over Jamie Coward at 7th place. He's probably going to be disappointed with that, Jamie, but absolutely no need to be.
I don't think he will be disappointed, to be honest, after I was speaking to him yesterday, where the bike was at come Thursday night practice. I don't think he'll be disappointed at all. I think he knows that he's had a good race there with Ian Hutchinson, who's like no slouch round here. So he's I imagine that he'll be happy, and the whole team will be happy. Dave Hewson, who runs that outfit, they'll all be over the moon.
Yeah, to be 1.2 seconds behind Ian Hutchinson after 6 laps on the TT course, I don't think you can complain too much about that, can you?
No.
Just some news from race control. Matt Stevenson slipped off at the Waterworks, but rider okay. So Matt Stevenson off at the Waterworks, rider okay. Let's get back down to Beth with 24th place, Barry Ferber.
Just with Barry here, how was your first 6-lap race for a couple of years?
It's nice to do one for a change, to be honest, yeah. Didn't know what to expect going into it. It's what we've done in practice, 2 laps at a time on the big bike. It's such a long way around for 6. So yeah, my hands just go, and once your hands go, I have to wait for them to come back to me. That last 2 laps I felt as fresh as the first one. So but yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's great to do 6. Let's hope we do another 6 at the end of the week.
Your pit crew did a great job as well.
Yeah, brilliant. To be fair, the lads know what they're doing now. They're spot on. We don't bother changing a tyre. The tyre was moving around a bit towards the end, but maybe just the suspension gets so hot. But no, I enjoyed it. I rode as good as I could, I think. Just to try and go a bit faster for a 3-lapper, won't we?
Great to see you smiling, Barry. Go and have a sit down.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you very much, Beth. OK, we got down to 7th. 8th place then for Nathan Harrison. Of course, it was top 4 last year for Nathan in this race. So over 8th place finish, another really good top 10 finish to add to that result last year. Mike Brown finishes in 9th. Paul Jordan finishes in 10th. Then...
And that rounds out 8 Hondas in the top 10.
Wow.
So an amazing day for them. We'll have to look back through the record books to see if that's been like that ever in the history books.
Yeah, that does show, and you don't. Yeah, because they haven't. BMW have been so dominant, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. So for Honda to come here and like that, the factory team have worked hard, but it's all the parts that filter down to that the privateer teams and all the other teams that are sort of running here. It all sort of filters back, and it's sort of coming home to roost now. All that hard work that's done by them factory Honda boys of Dean and John McGuinness.
Connor Cummins was battling for a top 10 position. He's just missed out in the end, 11th place. 12th place for Mikey Evans, 13th for Brian McCormack, 14th for Rob Hodson, 15th for Sean Anderson, 16th is a fine result for Marcus Simpson, and he's with Beth.
He certainly is, yeah. We spoke to you just before this race, Marcus. You talked about your pit boards out there. How did they do?
The boys did great. Thank you very much to the 3 lads, Connor, Billy and Toby out at Sulby Bridge did a mint job, and Aaron and Charlotte up the Craig. I think he missed it on lap 1. I don't think he expected me there. I think he thought he was the next bite, but yeah, I caught Julian into the hairpin, but just couldn't get past him until the windy corner. And yeah, it is what it is. It's made no difference to my race. I don't think. I haven't really looked, but how much was it? Yeah, it probably did make a difference then. So thanks to Julian for that. No, it's no skin off my nose. Yeah, 16th, 128 is that's a good day at the office.
Not too shabby at all. And physically, mentally, you okay?
Yeah. So I mean, it was a weird race, really. Lap 1, like I'm good lap 1, and then lap 2, I considered pulling in, and I don't know. It's so weird, the emotions and everything you go through out there, and then come into the pits and realised it was in a half okay position with the way that people came in and who's there and stuff, and thought, right, let's go. And I actually had to adjust my brake lever where it was on Glen Ellen lap 3. I was really unhappy with where that was, and even though it had been fine for 2 laps before. And then probably lost a bit more time there, and then sort of just had a real good word with myself, and just battled on. And I've got a lot of people who have invested in me, and I want to thank all of them a lot. And for that, I worked very hard on my fitness. I might not look it because I do still enjoy the not the best food, but I've worked very hard on my fitness. So lap 6, come over the line, said, right, let's go, and the PB came.
Tell you what, you don't even look like you've done anything. You're looking very, very fresh, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Rest day tomorrow, isn't it? So we have a few pints tonight, and I'll go for a cycle or something.
Enjoy it, Marcus. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Beth. Cheers.
Our podium riders are just wandering up pit lane, coming up for the podium presentations. We'll get you down to those very soon. Dean Harrison just having a chat with Paul Phillips there, congratulating him on that victory. So we got down to Marcus Simpson in 16th, 17th for Michael Sweeney, 18th for Philip Crow, 19th for Erno Costomo, who extends his advantage as the fastest ever Finnish rider at the TT course. He set a new PB this afternoon. Mitch Rees has finished in 20th, which is a great result at his second TT. And of course my screen is then going to not play ball. 21st for Julian Trummer, 22nd for Alan Ventnor, who's another rider who was already the fastest South African at the TT, and he's gone quicker again this afternoon. Jamie Kringle finishes in 23rd. Barry Ferber, who we've spoken to, is 24th. 25th for Kevin Keys, 26th for Maurizio Bottolico. I can get the system to play ball, which is now going to hopefully 27 for James Chalk. Good result for James there as well. Oh, and now it goes completely. It's all right. Patrick Ferrance is going to bail me out here. 28th place for Paul 28th place for Stefano Bonetti, 29th for Paul Potchy-Williams, 30th for Joey Thompson, Michael Russell 31st despite those penalties.
Yeah, even with them penalties, it would have only cost him one place. He would have just finished just behind, like within 2 seconds of Paul Williams in 29th place. So that 60-second penalty for the 2 speeding violations in the pit lane has cost him 1 place, but it would have put him in a battle for 29th.
32nd place for Reese Hardesty, 33rd for Barry Burrell, also at his second TT, 34th. Tremendous for Tom Whedon after the crashes and coming back from all the injuries, Mike, to get a finish in a 6-lapper. Fair play to Tom Whedon.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I bumped into him in Tesco the other day and we was having a chat, and he said his legs a lot better, but he's still giving him a real little bit of jip. So to get round and do 6 laps round here is great for Tom Whedon.
35th, Timothy Monet. 36th, Tom Robinson. 37th, Stephen Parsons. 38th, Ryan Whitehall. 39th for Amalric Blanc. 40th for Mark Goodings. And 41st for our final finisher, David Brook, in the RST Superbike TT, where we are now ready for the podium presentations. Down to Chris Kinley.
Thank you very much to Chris Boyd. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the presentation for the RST Superbike 6-lap TT race. And to present the awards, he's the president of RST. Give a big round of applause for Peter Hackinson. Thank you, Peter. Peter makes his way up the back of the podium and gets himself up there ready to present the trophies. Ladies and gentlemen, with his 52nd TT podium, number 6 in 3rd place, Michael Dunlop. Makes his way up onto the podium once more. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2nd place, number 10, Peter Hickman. Well done to Michael, and well done to Peter, 3rd and 2nd. And ladies and gentlemen, now a 6-time Isle of Man TT race winner, riding for Honda, Dean Harrison. Fantastic, and of course the trophy will be presented by Peter Hackinson, the president of RST. And Dean Harrison lifting that trophy, first time he's won the RST Superbike. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Dean Harrison. And ladies and gentlemen on the grandstand, if you are able, please be upstanding for the anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again to the president of RST, Peter Hackinson. And ladies and gentlemen, in 3rd place, Michael Dunlop, 2nd, Peter Hickman, and your race winner of the RST Superbike race, it of course is Dean Harrison. Now Dean gets his hands, gives the trophy back to the TT team, and of course he will be moving Peter out of the way there now. And what's going to happen now? It's going to get a bit champagne-y up on top. Ladies and gentlemen, show your appreciation once again for our top 3 riders and all our finishers in the RST Superbike TT. Who is going to be first? Is it going to be Dean? Is it going to be Pete? Is it going to be Michael? It's Dean. Well done to Dino. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. That's it from the podium here. I think we'll hand over to Chris Boyd.
Huge respect between our 3 podium riders this afternoon. Lots of chats going on up there, and yeah, applause from Michael Dunlop as well. So we were rounding off the finishers. David Brook has finished the final finisher in 41st place. Just ahead of him in 38th is Ryan Whitehall, who completes his first ever TT race. Down to Beth.
Yeah, first ever TT race. Ryan, what's your biggest takeaway?
Oh, I don't know really. I can't think very straight, to be fair. Like, I can't remember. There's a few tears. It's been, everyone that comes here puts everything into this, don't they? And yeah, it's been 10 years of a lot of broken bones and a lot of maxed out credit cards.
And that's it. And there's a whole team that's got you here as well.
Yeah, the boys, honestly, they were so good. Other than Josh throwing fuel all over my balls. But no, fantastic pit stop. They were really, really good. There was a little hiccup that we hadn't anticipated, but yeah, fantastic. They've worked so hard all week, and sleeping in a tent for 3 weeks not easy. So,
anything particularly unexpected?
Not really. To be fair, I sort of, once I got in a flow, I was really enjoying it, and I was like, "This is awesome." Wasn't too tired at all. My neck's starting to hurt a bit now, but yeah, Carol was helping me out with that just before we went out, sort of getting it loosened up. But no, yeah, it's just everything I expected and more. A dream come true, it really is.
Brilliant. Don't regret coming over then for it.
Oh, what do you think?
Ryan, great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. Cheers.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Beth. Great to hear from riders who are putting everything in to trying to get to a finish at the TT. That 6th win for Dean Harrison moves him up from 5 to 6, and he joins quite an illustrious list on 6. 6 times TT winners that he joins are Jimmy Guthrie, Jeff Duke, John Surtees, and Jim Redman. That's not a bad list, is it?
It's not a bad list, no. And he seems to be bossing this class at the minute, doesn't he, on the big bikes? He looks pretty ominous for the Superstock race, and it's looking really well for the senior. So where can he take his total to by the end of the week? It's, brilliant ride by Dean. Real controlled, real mature. Like he said in there, he just got out from the blocks hot, managed to get a lead, and just kept it at that. And he did what he had to do.
Yeah, and we saw him dominant on the big bikes all through practice week, didn't we? And it's sometimes easy to get sort of carried away with things and think, he's got the big bike race under wraps. But anything can happen on a race day. But he's proved to us today that he's a force to be reckoned with on them big bikes. And like you say, the rest of the field are really going to have to step things up if they want to catch him in the Superstock and the senior race at the end of the week.
Yeah, they're going to have to find whatever they're lacking, and it's not a lot. These guys have done this pace before, so they know what they need to do. They know what they need to get out of the bike and everything else to sort of to bridge that gap at the minute. But it's up to them to find. They know that Dean is right on it, and he has been since day one of practice.
And we know how big a factor confidence is at the TT. Once you get onto a roll, the confidence at TT, we've seen it last year with Davey Todd, we've seen it in the past with Michael Dunlop, Peter Hickman, John McGuinness. Once you get onto that roll, you become very, very difficult to beat.
You do, yeah. Confidence is such a huge thing around here. And you can see with his demeanour, and like when he's interviewed, he just looks so calm and relaxed with his whole demeanour and the whole team around him. They're in a good place at the moment.
Yeah, he made that look easy, didn't he? And when he took his helmet off and chatting to the guys down in Parc Fermé, it didn't look like he'd just done 6 laps on the TT course. And worryingly for the rest of the field, he did say there might be a little bit more left in the bag. So come the next races, let's see what happens.
Michael Dunlop will want to hit back once we get on to Super Sport and Sport Bike for sure, and he will go away and have a think about what he can do on the big bikes. Let's bring you the laps 6 times. I don't think we brought you those. We owe you them at the moment. For Dean Harrison, it was 133.2. It was another sub 17, a 16 minutes 59.7, 133.2 miles an hour. For Peter Hickman, it was 16 minutes 49.2, 134.5 miles per hour. For Michael Dunlop, 16:54.1, 133.9. These sub 17s still absolutely astound me, but they're just the norm, aren't they?
You're reeling them off like it's normal to do these speeds, but honestly, these guys, and like Peter Hickman was saying, it took him to lap 4 to sort of really get into the flow, and we could see that from Dean from the first night of practice. He was sort of in the flow and in a rhythm, and it was sort of the lap times were coming easy, and Peter Hickman, the times haven't come easy for him in the TT so far, but now he's got up to 134.5. It's on the money where he needs to be.
Yeah, they took a little bit to come, but they're just about here now. And by the time we get to the next big bike race, the Superstock race, he'll have which we haven't actually got scheduled in yet. I don't think he'll have slept on it. He'll have learnt from the Superbike race that we've just had. Of course, Peter's Superstock bike and Superbike are actually not. They're both BMWs to start with, and then they're not completely different. So it helps to carry one setting over for the next. So yeah, the times are just about there for Peter Hickman. So perhaps he can just step that forward a little bit and give Dean a bit of a sharper run in the next race.
Josh Brooks is maybe going to look for some attrition in one of these races because he's sub-17 as well on the final lap, 16 minutes 55.0, 133.819. I think Josh has been up into the 134s before at TT, so it's not quite as quick as ever, but nonetheless, he's right there with them. He just needs a little bit of a break, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then breaks are easy to come by sometimes. You know, like we said, we only need something to go wrong in the pit lane, or someone to have a chain come off, or have a slight problem, or even just run a little bit wide a few places, and he's right there. So don't be surprised to see Josh Brooks on the podium before the week's out.
Yeah, 134 dead, more or less Josh's fastest time. So it's
only a shade off that.
It is only a shade off. 134.056, which was in the 24 senior race.
John McGuinness rounded off his race at the end of 6 laps as 54-year-old. He went round in 17 minutes and 7, 133.2.
I don't know what else you can say about the man. You know, he's just... legends used a lot, I feel, but I think it's bona fide when it comes to John McGuinness and the TT.
Ian Hutchinson. Oh, sorry. Mike.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he's as big a part of this event as I think any rider's ever been, isn't he? You know, he's John McGuinness in the TT. It's synonymous.
Ian Hutchinson, almost an identical time to John McGuinness on the final lap, 17:07, 133.2, and Jamie Coward, 17 minutes 11, 131.6. That takes us down the leading times on the final lap. The fastest lap of the race and the John Williams Trophy will go to Dean Harrison, our race winner. It was on lap 1 that he did it. He blew them away on the opening lap. 16 minutes 46.939, 134.892. He broke them from the start.
He did. He said that's what he was going to try and do from the very start, you know, and it's... He had the playbook wrote out and he executed it perfectly. I mean, kudos to him, and it's just the vein of form that he's in coming into the TT, not just at the TT. So he's just taking that on, and yeah, it's brilliant to see.
I don't think anyone saw which way he went, did they?
No. Exactly as we thought coming out of qualifying, and really the intensity of where we were in the battle was that battle for second through the middle part of the race between Hickman and Dunlop. That was sensational.
Yeah, there were some brilliant battles all the way through, like 6th and 7th place. That was a good battle at one point between Hutchie and Jamie Coward, and then John McGuinness at one point we thought was going to maybe overhaul Josh Brooks, got within 2 seconds. So there were some good battles all the way through between various people, between 2nd and 3rd, 4th and 5th, and 6th and 7th. So it was I feel it was a brilliant race.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it had us on the edge of our seats up here in the commentary box, and I'm sure it did out there for everyone on the circuit because some great racing, and you know you can just see how hard these guys are trying, can't you? You can they're using all the track, and especially on the first lap, I love to see when they're getting right in the gutters on the side of the road, and there's leaves and dust flying up. It just shows you how hard these boys are trying.
Absolutely sensational RST Superbike TT race to get us underway. Race week TT 2026. The next race day is due to be Tuesday, where at 10:45 roads will close at 10. At 9, sorry, they'll begin to rose on the mountain. I think it'll be 10:15 or 10 o'clock maybe on the mountain. 10:45 we're due to have the Monster Energy Supersport TT Race 1 over 4 laps, and at 2:15 we're due to have the Carol Nash Sportbike TT Race 1 over 3 laps with a 1-lap solo practice after that. So we'll just see what happens with the timetable. We're due to go racing again on Tuesday. If you're here at the TT Grandstand or can get yourselves here to the TT Grandstand by 4 o'clock, don't forget you can be involved in the film Isle of Man. They are looking to do a winner's enclosure filming today between 4 o'clock and 9 o'clock. They want people for the crowd scene. Come on up, get yourselves involved in the film Isle of Man that is being produced here at TT 2026. Don't miss out on that opportunity. We're ready to go racing again on Tuesday, but we need to go and catch our breath after today. That has been a brilliant performance by Dean Harrison. 6 times a TT winner now. Beats Peter Hickman and Michael Dunlop. Wow. We're all off for a drink. We'll see you again on Tuesday.
Keep up to date with Manx Radio's dedicated motorsport website, motorsport.manxradio.com, your one-stop shop for news, travel, road closures and racing schedules. You can also step into Manx Radio 1368's 60-year motorsport archive, including interviews with your favourite riders, race highlights from yesteryear, and our collection of motorsport videos and podcasts. Motorsport.manxradio.com, the home for motorsport on the Isle of Man, from the best biking stations station in the world. Manx Radio 1368.